Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution, the Mexican OT. You done stepped in it and you can't get out. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Well, we got to get into this content that's all over the internet. Salute. Mexican OT disrespects our people, pretend like he's somebody that he's not. A lot of his racist, biggest fans, they pretend like they somebody they not. And we got to look deep into this. And we got to have some revolutionary correction. What is this all about?
This Angela Yee interview has ruined this rapper's career and will have a lasting negative impact for a while. The rapper in question is Mexican OT. For the most part, Mexican OT has managed to have a thriving rap career with zero controversy.
I'm on my campaign to make sure he understands. We heard that, and we're not letting that go.
Before the Angela Yee interview, he's been on Joe Rogan, he's been on Andrew Schultz, Bootleg Kev, he's been on every hip-hop platform, and he's one of the very few rappers that before that interview, you couldn't really put up anybody who wasn't a fan of Mexican OT or anybody who disliked them. But literally all of that changed overnight and became a thing of the past when Mexican OT was on Angela Yee's podcast and they asked him if he says the N-word. He then proceeded to give the single worst answer for anyone who's ever been asked if they say the N-word.
The cancel culture is really strong. I have a question. So you know, like you're from the South. Obviously, you grew up a different kind of way, and you're a rapper too. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you could say the N-word?
I feel like I can say it, but not because of that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Mm-hmm. I wish there was some black dudes in here.
When he began to ask for some black dudes, I'm thinking he's about to ask the black dudes for validation. Like, yo, y'all got Spanish homies who say the N-word, right? I was not expecting the turn this was about to take.
Right there.
And there's one right here. Not.
Okay, well, we're gonna use him.
Okay, that's my manager. Hey, Will.
Me and Fee know what's up.
Well, you're black. Okay.
What the you gonna do about it, you know?
Asking them to identify.
What the fuck you gonna do about it, you know? Hey, yeah, we do know and we do understand, homie, that you played your motherfucking self. That's what we know.
Identify where the black men are in the room so you can say, well, what are they gonna do about it?
Actor.
Bro, that energy is crazy. That's like a crazy energy. Regardless of where you lay on the spectrum of if you think he should say the N-word or not, you got to admit that's a crazy energy to have. Now, I'm not one of them ones who gets super upset if somebody says the N-word. Yo, my energy is too high and too positive that I'm not letting nothing get to me, bro. If a racist calls me the hard ER, it's not gonna make me upset. Like I'm not being affected by anybody's actions, bro. Not happening. But the one thing we can admit, though, regardless of where you're at on the spectrum of if you believe he can say it or not, him having that energy is just bad, and it's gonna come back to haunt him.
Bad for him.
Now, what he proceeded to say after this, to me, should be the right thing he should have said. He should have started off with this. But when you start off with that energy, that's gonna now instigate and antagonize other people, specifically black men who you called out. That's going to antagonize them now to come and see you about it.
And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them. I grew up eating with them. I grew up fucking doing bad shit with them. I grew up loving with them. You know, I got family. And it's not even about
that you done got on and you super good. Now you saying what the fuck they gonna do about it? They accepted you your whole stinking fucking life. That's the fact. I know the story. Now you done got big. Now you got on. Now you think you're a Chapo. It's what the fuck. You started off with what the fuck they gonna do about it. And then, well, also, man, boy, you crazy. You crazy.
A family, even if I wasn't related to nobody out black. I mean, it was shit. It's what the fuck I was surrounded by, you know? Like, I respect people that they feel that way. Mm-hmm. And that's why I try to shut the fuck about it.
Right.
But if you're from where I'm from or anywhere, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? You know?
I personally like Mexican OT. We have mutual friends. I think he's cool, but this is not the right way to go about things, bro. 90% of that statement is cool. That 10% ruins the 90%. What are they going to do about it? You speaking as if you are an authority, as if you have a birthright to say the word, as if somebody telling you, hey, bro, you can't say it, is them taking away something from you. And that's not the case. Now, apparently he's confident in saying this word or in the stance he has because he believes he can't be canceled at all.
I'm gonna tell you why, though. I think it's a lot of access, way more than it used to be. And then I think that people don't have the space to make mistakes because everything just goes viral and everybody's scared of getting canceled. So people be a lot more cautious. Are you scared of ever getting canceled? Like, do you feel like?
No, I'm not. I don't think I can get canceled.
Okay.
But I can't get.
That's a lie. That's a big time lie. That you absolutely can. We definitely can't cancel you in this thing of ours. You can do that shit amongst your people. We can cancel your ass in this thing of ours. You done got way beside your motherfucking self. You and your partners and your little they'll be listening to you. But all over this country, this state, people had enough of your fucking stinking attitude. I don't think I could be canceled. A lot of people didn't think that. A lot of hip hop artists didn't think that motherfucking shit. Boy, it's a new day. We are sick of this shit, nigga.
Get canceled because I didn't sell my music. I sold me.
Right.
And
it's what come with it.
And these people know who the fuck I am and they love me and they appreciate me. And that's why I can go fucking off a bridge and eat a bowl of shit. They gonna fucking love it.
Okay, please don't.
Right. Yo, he's mad funny. What the hell?
No, but listen,
if you had a choice between jumping off a bridge or eating a bowl of shit,
but listen to me. I did both, and they would have cheered that shit on. And it's because I sold myself. So that's why I don't think I can get canceled. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't agree with what the fuck I'm saying, like there's.
I have a question. I'm gonna let you finish though.
There's a whole world that is behind me, and not only is there a whole world behind me, it's so fearlessly me that you have no choice but to respect it.
He's correct.
See, I grew up a lot of motherfuckers like this. You know, you look out for them when they're young. They up under this thing of ours. They all around us, trying to steal off our plate, hang with us, smoke with us, all that shit, boy. And it's like when they get around they older people, then they become segregated. It's like, when some of them go to prison, they get this segregated mentality. And people tell them, stop acting like the blacks and trying to be the blacks. But he is cosplaying in this hip hop thing. But that mentality done seeped in. He done been around them older Mexicans and they done told him he start pulling closer to them. He probably getting extorted. That's a fact by the Mexican mafia. But that's why he start off with what the fuck they gonna do about it. Nobody who been amongst us, you got love for us, would ever start off like that. So we know where he's swaying to now with his mentality.
In the sense of you can't break what you didn't make. You can't cancel someone if you're not their demographic. If I'm a rap star, a country fan,
bro, I was in the game. I was in the streets with a nigga that crack and all that shit was hitting. And in the Mexican community, they had plugs was they had the key, they could get the South, but you had to deal with the blacks to be able to sell ounces of hard, grams, halves, whole, quarters. You gotta go get with the black, you gotta come around us in this thing of ours. This was a fact. So next thing you know, a lot of cosplay start going on, they start hanging in the hood with us, they selling circles that's not soft, they hard. The older Mexicans, they couldn't do that. See, they start picking up on a lot of slang, how we act and how we talk. But next thing you know, they got it all. They got all the kilos and everything. You see what I'm saying? That mentality seep in of what the fuck they gonna do about it though. What, bitch? They gave you all your street game, all your street knowledge. Your people didn't give you none of that.
Fan can't cancel me. They're not listening to me anyways. But this is where Mexican OT has to be careful because I feel like he's incorrect with his case. He's a rapper. He's within hip hop. Hip hop for the most part is black culture. You have black people who enjoy Mexican OT's music. So if you're in his situation, pissing off black folks and say, I'm not concerned. They're not my demographic. That's not really going to bode well because the worst thing a rapper can ever be labeled, especially if you're not black, is like a toxic culture vulture, right? Is when they label you in like the same breath as like Slim Jesus or as like Post Malone. You don't want to be listed or named in that category because it never bodes well. Right? Like it never ends well. You don't go from being super liked to now everything you do is being critiqued. Now everything you say is being put under a microscope. Now people is just going out of their way to call you a culture vulture and to hate on you. Which is why I believe this interview here was a mistake or exactly what he said was a mistake. Now, rappers have tried to come to his defense like Sauce Walka, But when Sauce Walker tried to come to his defense, bro, Sauce Walker just made things 100% worse.
Oh, hey, man, say, man, I be trying my best to stay out of subjects like this and rant like I used to, but this one really be bothering me. Mexicans, Hispanic people, and the word, and people using the word, they're of Latin descent, specifically. Mother said, I sound dumb as hell for saying, to say that a Mexican or Hispanic person can't say, use the word in fellowship is like saying Mexicans telling us we can't eat a taco. We can't eat tacos.
But he didn't say it in fellowship. He didn't say it in fellowship. He didn't say what they're going to do about it. No, the right example is, say you have some white boys. Now, white boys call themselves woods. Now, I'm not disrespecting. They call themselves woods, peckerwood, wood pile. That's a term of endearment to whites. Now, you have some blacks. They might say, white boy, you might be white. What's up, wood? You dap him up. Now, you have, like, yeah, you just give, that's their slang. You giving a term of endearment. But it's like, it's some blacks, like, man, F up, peckerwood. Now you have used the derogatory, and a white boy can say, hold on, man. You done that's what it is. It's how you say something. It's how you say something, nigga. And if a black person say, I say what I want, what they gonna do about it, man? You challenging him. You a standoff. He know exactly what he was doing and what he was saying.
Tacos. The comment said, how can you compare a derogatory racial word to a food? How do you racially disrespect a white person? What do you call them? What is a food, dumbass? What do people call Mexicans when they be disrespecting them? Tacos, burritos,
I never have.
Food, disrespectful, bitch. Racism is racism no matter how you put it, man. And if we're going to talk about it.
Watch how they, and when I say they, y'all know who I'm talking about. Watch how they have an incapability of defending their Mexican homies or their Spanish homie right to say the N-word without tearing down black folks. Sauce Walker, I guess the immediate go-to is to talk about how trash black folks are or how trash, like we are or how we ain't ish. That's the go-to, I guess.
Remember, nobody came out and nigga was the nigga police. We wasn't policing the fucking N-word, bro. That's why I got to salute Power Wow, a veteran in the game who never got trapped in this situation because he knew it was a time and a place for every motherfucking thing. That's why Power Wow, a real OG, nigga, never went through this type of shit. This other cat is disrespectful. It's time and a place for everything. His challenging of us, saying, what will we do about it? That's where we intervene. Nobody's policing the fucking nigga word. So Sauce is, no, homie. It's the challenging us like we some bitches and he'll do whatever he want because he El Chapo. You fucking crazy, nigga. And we'll never tolerate that. Never.
When defending somebody who wants to say the N-word, why not, just give your brilliant points? Like, saying the N-word is like eating tacos. Mexicans are called tacos. So when you eat tacos, you're disrespecting them. But they allow you to eat the tacos, so you should allow them to eat the N-word.
Salute. Nah, it ain't gonna happen.
The most disrespectful racist mother on earth. We hate ourselves more than we hate anybody. Rob, steal from, don't support, don't help others.
Absolutely not. And I said I'm gonna have to make a whole nother video just to talk to my brother Sauce about what he doing because he getting a lot of money in Houston dealing with them people. But I'm saying like this here. Just because we have our own issues in our community, that don't mean everybody can mistreat us. Fuck no. I would never in my life take that stance. You kidding me? Just because we have our own problems, that means anybody that come to America, you can treat us like shit and we can't say nothing. No, y'all doing it to one another. Fuck, we know we're not going for that. We're taking a stand. You will not challenge us on if I'm disrespecting y'all, what y'all gonna do about it. Cool. We willing to show you and we willing to address you about what the fuck we gonna do about it. And once again, I'm saying ain't nobody can vouch for me telling me good when you're not. You will be lying to the young man. That's bad advice. Sauce, you giving him bad advice, bro. You can't make him think it is what it ain't. Bad advice, bro.
See 10 in the middle of the street, mother getting ate by a mother grizzly bear and keep running. A white person to jump out and try to fight a Mexican to try to stab him. Put out their phone and record you die and suffer for views. But you have the audacity to say that Hispanic people shouldn't say the word. Second of all, the word It's
already said they should say the word. Like some people say they should be said. We did. That's not what this is about. So they see you moving the goalposts. This conversation is not about him saying the N word. He's a rapper. He got music on radio. We not the nigga police. He started off with what they gonna do about me saying it. That's where we stand on that. It's that part, that specific part. Now who's saying it, when they saying it, it's on any. If anybody tell us, I'm gonna say it, and what you gonna do about it? You have a problem on your motherfucking hands, and it can't go away till you correct that. And anybody saying different, they not telling man, they giving them bad advice, bro. And a blind man can see it's gonna go wrong for him somewhere around this motherfucking country, though. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Then converted into a word of love, a word of companionship, a word of brotherhood, fellowship. It's not been a derogatory racist word in so long. Yes, coming out of a certain white person's mouth in a certain way, yes, man. Feel more disrespected than for a white person calling you a boy.
Not white person. No, because we got a lot of no. It's any motherfucking race of people on this fucking planet. I don't give a fuck if they're Asian, if they Spanish. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? If they come from the continent of Africa and you get over here and you think you white and you try to use that term, if you say I call you nigga, what you gonna do about it? We getting on your ass. It ain't just white. No. Anybody try to subjugate us to some humiliation, because that's what you think. You can humiliate us. We got to bow down to you. Got us fucked up.
At the end of the, some real shit, y'all be doing that shit for the internet, and I hate this shit, bro, because y'all don't really give a about. That's the part that irks my soul the most. And then, how disrespect the Asian person? What they call them? Fried rice, egg, same shit. Don't ever say that comparing it to food is not the same. Yes, it is, you dumbass. You the dumbass, idiot. I love Hispanic, anime, Japanese, Chinese. I love all people. People need to love people. Yes, we have been done wrong, but a lot of people have been done wrong as well. Yes, we have not got our reparations and our blessings back for what we have been through in this world. But when you talk about Hispanic people, I feel a certain type of way, because why? Hispanic people built America just like we built America. America was built on the blood of Hispanics just like it was built on the blood of the black man and the Indian man. So at the end of the day, all that shit is bullshit. And it's y'all calling for that dumbass systematical racism that make us hate each other. I understand that dumbass shit is going to California, how they feel and all that, and that's dumb in the bitch too, because right now everybody should be supporting Hispanics that have came over to America and helped build this country and ain't did nothing wrong.
Racism in their heart. We're not the racial people. We first of all, we built civilization all over this fucking planet. So all that, who built what? I know we built a lot of shit every motherfucking way. That's a goddamn fact. And I'm going to say this once again, because I got to go to high science. Before it was a Hispanic person, that was us. Before it was an Asian person, that was us. Before it was a such thing as a white person, that was us. Before it was any other tone of anything on this planet, that was us. So we got to get into, we are the civilization builders. Unless you're going to tell me about some fucking aliens or something. Unless you want to get into that. Unless you want to talk about the Anunnaki. Because that's what the motherfucker moved the goalpost. We hit him with that real sign. Before that was any of those shades of color, that was us.
On to you, and if you can, bitch, I don't know, y'all niggas hoes though. But shout out to the Rasa and every Mexican that don't like you too. Every person that don't like me, you too. But at the end of the day, all you fake Carnell X and fake ass Farrakhan police in the word against people of color, that's dumb in a bitch.
Man, Sauce Walker trying to sell some records, man. He trying to sell some records, man. Bro, understand, bro, you can't have a career in Texas if you go against Hispanic people, bro. It ain't happening. And if you are a rapper who don't want Hispanic people who say the N-word to come to your shows, your show is gonna be empty in Texas. I mean, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. Now, I'm not saying like he's wrong for the thoughts that, he believes that people of color can say the N-word. I guess if that's your philosophy, you have a right to have it. But what you don't have a right to do is tearing down black folks to defend a Hispanic man's right to say the N-word. That's just absurd to me, right? Like, to me, like that's lunacy. That's
not about his right to say the N-word. We're not talking about the motherfucking N-word. We talking about him saying, I say it, and what the fuck they gonna do about it. That's it. Nobody said nothing about him saying no fucking N-word. This would have been a fucking problem. We would have been addressing that shit. He's been doing his raps. We're talking about him saying what the fuck they're gonna do about it. That started off his conversation. You crazy motherfucker, nigga. You're not getting that past us, nigga.
That's crazy. That's insane. Why? To sell some records, I guess. Now, Sauce Walker actually made things worse for Mexican OT because all this did was highlighted, create more of a media storm. And people just had a more vitriol reaction to Mexican OT once they realized that there were black folks defending him for saying the N-word. Here are a couple of tweets. If you're visually impaired, you could skip. Hispanics saying the N-word doesn't affect me none. I couldn't care less about anything else. All right. But do I believe as a Hispanic person, you should be challenging black people for your right to say it? I don't, right? I feel like because you're not black, it should be the approach of, for those who don't mind me saying it, hey man, when I'm in your presence, I'm gonna say it and we can rock how we rock. For those who have a strong problem, who it affects, who me saying the word gives you trauma, I'm going to respect your trauma not to say it when I'm around you, all right? I feel like that's the respectful thing, and that's the respectful way to answer. The other stuff to me is a little too much. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this?
Black community and the Hispanic community have been at odds for a long time. And with the ICE raids happening around the country, in particular in LA, Black people are not ashamed to tell Latinos how they really feel. For those of them who are getting deported back to their original countries, Black people are like, bye bye. But in certain parts of the country, Blacks and Mexicans don't have a big issue. And that's like in Northern California or even in certain parts of Texas. Now, Texas does have a lot of Hispanics and a lot of Blacks, but in certain partitions, Blacks and Mexicans run together. Now, like I said, this is something to be seen in Northern California, like in Sacramento, where I'm from, where Blacks and Mexicans typically have a close relationship. And sometimes you can get Mexicans and Black gangs or vice versa. And so Mexicans can get a pass to a certain degree. And that is where we get a guy like Mexican OT. Now, if you look at Mexican OT, from what I can see from the guy, he's not like your typical Hispanic type rapper. He looks like a guy that, he definitely is Mexican, but I mean, he got a grill. He seems like he got a shag. I mean, he kind of maybe raps on the same style of flow from what I can tell, like a Black dude. But there's an issue. He uses the N-word. Recently, he was on the podcast with Angela Yee, and he was confronted about it.
Do you feel like you could say the N-word?
I feel like I can say it, but not because of that. And I'm going to tell you why. Mm-hmm. What the are you going to do about it?
But wait, there's more.
I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them. I grew up eating with them. I grew up doing bad with them. I grew up loving with them. I got family. And it's not even about family. Even if I wasn't related to nobody out Black, I mean, it's what the I was surrounded by, Now,
Mexican OT said, hey, the reason why I use the N-word, it's not because I'm being disrespectful. I grew up with these dudes. Like, I admire these dudes. I mean, I went to war with these dudes. Like, I'm from the same places that they're from too. Now, it's interesting because, again, he does play the Mexican card, you know, the Mexican flag and all of that. But you can look at him and tell that, hey, there is some level of black influence in what he does. And the internet is divided on if he should be able to say the N-word or not.
If you are not black, you cannot use the N-word. I'm an unambiguous Afro-Latina. I am a black woman. And if I had a cousin that looked like Mexican OT Genesis, which I have, if any of them said the N-word, I'm slapping the shit out of them on sight. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not even thinking twice about it. And you know why? Because that word was reclaimed by black people. Someone is telling you that something is offensive and you were like, oh, well, what are these N-words gonna do about it? That's crazy disrespectful. I'm not mad at Cleotrapa for asking the question because I feel like Cleotrapa is the only one in that room that had enough cojones to ask. Now, Angela Yee, this is her show. This is your show. And on top of it being your show, it's not like you're a nobody. It's not like you're not connected. So you could have easily like checked him and been like, oh, you need to get out of here. Like, we're not going to continue. The men that was with him, I find it to be equally disturbing that none of them said anything. Nobody said anything to this guy, like at all. Nah.
Oh, we got plenty.
So there is an Afro-Latina lady who was like, hell to the no. Like, listen. This dude don't have any reason to be out here using the N-word, okay? Like, not at all. Then you have people like Azalea Banks. She says this on a tweet. No, everyone in the world can say and do what they want, and black people really have no reason to be upset about it as offensive while we run around calling each other such an ugly word because we can't expand our vocabulary. If we want people to let it go, we have to do so first. African people do not use that word.
Stop the cap.
Then you got people on the same side as Mexican OT.
Bro, like, man, I'm tired of these motherfuckers that's not from Texas, steady speaking on Texas business, my like, everybody say down here. Everybody, especially all Hispanics, don't matter if you goddamn Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, El Salvador, locked in with the black.
Texas business. And he right, a lot of people do say nobody's allowed to ask black people in Texas what the fuck we gonna do about them saying it. Now I don't know what this will do. I know where I'm from. Nowhere I've ever been, no county jail I've ever been in, no prison I've ever been in. Are you able to say, nigga, what you gonna do about it? Not that, like I say, that's why we respond like this. This is something we gotta nip in the bud. Because fuck no, it's not going to become a new fad for these motherfuckers to get out of line and challenge us. Asking what we going to do about the disrespect? Okay, family, you reap what you sow.
Blacks, man, you around, see us blacks, man, we raised around Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? In every neighborhood, goddamn me, it's a couple of Mexicans, goddamn, or Hispanics, motherfuckers, there's on our block. So we growing up with these motherfuckers, childhood, since little boys, since little girls, you know what I'm saying? And we so locked in, y'all from up north wouldn't understand it because it ain't. I ain't gonna say it ain't no Hispanics, but it's racially divided down here. We like this. We lock in, my. Since middle school, high school, we getting invited to quinceañeras and tamale trucks and shit, come right through on the little bike with the little.
This is a guy from Texas saying, "Listen, man, we don't even need y'all in our business all like that." Like, we grew up with them, you know, they grow up with us, you know, we like family. So
what we saying, that's not what we saying. That's not, I mean, I'm 34, I'm about 40 minutes away from Bay City where that clown at. People is from his city saying he making them look like a motherfucking fool. That's not what people is saying down here in Texas. That's not what they're saying. Because they do, like I said, we're not nigga policing. We saying you won't challenge us and ask us what the fuck we doing. You're gonna get what you're looking for. That is a challenging tone. And you got us fucked up, and no amount of partners you hang around and want to flunky for you will ever allow you to get away with that shit, man. It's gonna be bad for whoever trying to play with us like that. That's a fact, bro.
Oh, why can't they say it?
This shit gonna be a historical lesson for people who think they can disrespect us or tell us anything. In real fucking life, it's not gonna go good for you. You're letting your anti-black hate come out your motherfucking heart. After eating off our motherfucking plate, this the things we get. You got us fucked up, and no amount of flunkies who want to be around them came off make that shit a new fad. You crazy. Not challenging us.
Accepted us, so it should be okay.
Not challenging
now, there was a Hispanic guy who brought up some very interesting points.
What I want to speak on is that when it comes to referring to your friends as a Hispanic, you really don't have to use that word. I mean, we have so many other words. We refer to people as pa. We refer to people as my boy, what's cracking my boy. We refer to people as foo, what's up, foo? And ese, vato, pops. I don't know if other cultures use pops. I've only really had my Hispanic homies call me pops. But yeah, we just have so many other phrases that we can use besides that word to refer to our friends.
But a guy said something that was interesting. He says, listen, I mean, like, I'm not here to really comment on if it's right or wrong for him to say whatever he's going to say. That's up to him. But as far as referring to Mexicans or anybody else, there are many terms that we could use to basically distinguish ourselves. We have many different ways to show we are friends. Like, we don't need to use that word because in our slang, we have many different ways to call each other a name. So that's the problem that he has with it. But the person who went and said the most was Sauce Walker.
Oh, hey, man, say, man, I be trying my best to stay out of subjects like this and rant like I used to, but this one really be bothering me. Mexicans, Hispanic people, and the word, and people using the word, they're of Latin descent, specifically. Mother said, I sound dumb as hell for saying, to say that a Mexican or Hispanic person can't say, use the word in fellowship is like saying Mexicans telling us we can't eat a taco. We can't eat tacos. The comment said, how can you compare a derogatory racial word to a food? How do you racially disrespect a white person? What do you call them? What is a food, dumbass? What do people call Mexicans when they be disrespecting them? Tacos, burritos, wet food, disrespectful. Racism is racism no matter how you put it. And if we're gonna talk about it, the most disrespectful racist on earth, we hate ourselves more than we hate anybody. Wrong, steal from, don't support, don't help others. See 10 in the middle of the street, getting ate by a mother grizzly bear and keep running. A white person to jump out and try to fight a Mexican to try to stab them. Don't put out their phone and record you die and suffer for views. But you have the audacity to say that Hispanic people shouldn't say the word.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the f you think you is?
But wait, it gets worse.
Second of all, the word has already been converted into a word of love, a word of companionship, a word of brotherhood, fellowship. It's not been a derogatory racist word in so long. Yes, coming out of a certain white person's mouth in a certain way, yes, man, feel more disrespected than for a white person calling you a boy. So at the end of the, like, some real shit, y'all be doing that shit for the internet, and I hate this shit, bro, because y'all don't really give a about. That's the part that irks my soul the most. And then, how do you disrespect the Asian person? What they call them? Fried rice, egg, same. So don't ever say that comparing it to food is not the same. Yes, it is, you dumbass. You the dumbass, idiot. I love Hispanic, anime, Japanese, Chinese. I love all people. People need to love people. Yes, we have been done wrong, but a lot of people have been done wrong as well. Yes, we have not got our reparations and our blessings back for what we have been through in this world. But when you talk about Hispanic people, I feel a certain type of way because why? Hispanic people built America just like we built America. America was built on the blood of Hispanics just like it was built on the blood of the black man and the Indian man. So at the end of the day, all that is bullshit. And it's y'all for that dumbass systematical racism that make us hate each other. I understand that dumb they're going to California, how they feel and all that, and that's dumb in a bitch too. Because right now everybody should be supporting Hispanics that have came over to America and helped build this country and ain't did nothing wrong to you.
Now, Sauce Walker is saying, listen, we do this to ourselves. You know, we're the ones out here. You know, they built this country along with us. And all of that. Like, this is the case that he's trying to make for himself. Again, selling out, right? But check out what the Afro-Latina sister says.
We wouldn't go up to his people and his family and be like, oh, son mojados, which means. So why are you in a room of black people saying that?
Always remember, the same fucking rappers who support South Park Mexican and they know he a pedo, who in jail for touching on a 9-year-old. His baby mama was a 13-year-old. He was laid up in the hospital with a hotel with 2 14-year-olds. They all support SPM and say free SPM and did SPM concerts to me and my partner Tim Snow start exposing that. So always remember that the Mexican money is so good. It's good. They spend a lot with them rappers. That's what this all about. They spend a lot with them fucking rappers. And he's making a business decision. He don't give a fuck about us. He's making a business decision for his wallet. And that's the type of disgusting shit, nigga, he ain't gonna never be able to live down, nigga.
In the N-word so comfortably, and then you know you're wrong because you're like, oh, well, what are they gonna do about it?
Now, she says something that's very interesting. She says, you can't go to their community and use a term like wet B, okay? You can't say that. Now, while you're letting them say the N-word, you know better than to go over there and call them that, right? And even though the N-word can be used as a term of endearment from people in our community, you could never use the term wet B as a term of endearment because that will cost you maybe your life over there. And that's the point that she's trying to make. Like, we're accepting disparity from other groups. They would never let you get away with that. And that's the whole problem with black people. We like to allow people to do stuff to us, but if we were to call them the same thing that is negative, they'd have a problem with it. And that's why the Black and Brown Coalition is whatever it's supposed to be called. It's at a rocks right now, or it doesn't exist right now, because we allow this particular group to do whatever they feel like doing, and we don't put no parameters on them, but they put all the parameters on us. Even when you go to jail, when the blacks or Hispanics in jail, blacks don't like snitching, right? But the Hispanics can snitch on blacks. They can't snitch on each other, but they can snitch on blacks. So we're already not playing fair. So how often can you compete with a group that's not playing fair with you, but you're allowing them to come into your culture, into your community, you know, and basically steal some of your style to do whatever they want to do, and you're down bad. At this point, like, blacks gotta kind of really wake up. Like, at what point do you wake up and to say, listen, hey, we can be friends, we can be family, but you using the N-word, that's offensive. Like, we gotta stop the cap on that, okay? Using the N-word, it don't make no sense. Please stop it. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again.
From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation.
Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute to our family. Happy Valley Farms. Happy Valley Farms. Don't try to 50 million of us in the U.S. then. Absolutely don't. It's going to be some serious problems. Revolution is way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Salute.
This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillon for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come in, beloved, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way other folks will know that we're here. And for that, we say thank you so very much, family. Certainly, you all know that the ICE issues, which is the immigration detention arm of the government, law enforcement arm of the government, has been such a huge topic.
Revolutionary salute to our brother Golden Mask for gifting 10 core figure memberships to the revolutionary audience. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate that love, family. If y'all can keep those to help support the House of Revolution. Salute.
Topic here in the United States of America. Of course, for those of us that are foundational Black Americans, our issue has to do with the fact that folks that violate the law are receiving actual money, housing, jobs, insurance, food stamps, and other things that those of us who are the descendants of those that built this country have not received such tangibles. And they have been placed before us, and the resources that have been used to divvy out to them, they actually are taking from very Black taxpayer dollars and labor. Yes, this is the issue that we have. Now, with that being said, the great living legend, the great Dr. Claude Anderson, exposed many years ago in his book, Powernomics, the plot to actually replace us. This is real. And this is what we're seeing today is not by accident. That's another reason why I personally object to this. Now, in a Black news publication called News One, and by the way, Roland Martin, I think, has some connections to this newspaper, even though it's not said here that he wrote this piece. Someone here by the name of Dr. Stacy Patton wrote it. But I know that he at one time at least had direct connections with this group. It says News One, the headline here says, "Dear Black folks, the protests against ICE are absolutely our fight too." It says here that as Donald Trump sparks chaos by illegally deploying troops to Los Angeles, as immigration raids intensify and as protesters are flooding the streets to demand dignity for migrants, far too many Black folks are sitting back on social media platforms singing a tired, familiar song. It's being sung off-key with a false sense of safety and a dangerous misunderstanding of how white supremacist violence works. The chorus of Retreat sounds something like this, quote, "Black folks need to stay home. Let them handle it. This is their fight. Most Latinos voted for this mess. ICE, don't target us. We got citizenships. I ain't marching for nobody who won't march for me. And Latinos don't like us anyway." It goes on to say what's really being said underneath all that deflection is this, quote, "If they come for Latinos, I'll be quiet as long as they leave me and mine alone. But if you study history, I mean really study history, then you should already know that they never leave us alone, not for long." Now, this is a misguided individual, a publication that tends to be pushed, supported by members of the affected members of the Boule. Now, there are a handful of decent Boule, because some of y'all reached out to me and said, "Vicky, quit dogging all the Boule. Some of us Boule love you." You good. But for too many of you all who have academia and have jobs and prestige in different parts of our culture, you think you better than us. You think you know better than us. And your advice has gotten us nothing. We don't need to sit here and debate whether or not you're right. Our circumstances tell us you're wrong. That your political strategy all these years have gotten us nothing, but it's gotten everybody else everything. Where's my gavel? Talk black to me, somebody. Now, even though many folks that continue to push such things, those that I call the affected members of the Boule, are those that tend to have education, and tend to be in influential positions throughout society. These very Black groups, you have to ask yourself, why is it they wouldn't embrace someone like the great Dr. Claude Anderson, who not only has his doctorate degree, who is not only beloved around the world, who is not only an esteemed economist, watch this, who literally worked for a former Democrat president, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter appointed him to work in the Commerce Department. You would think that they would be chomping at the bit to get him to speak, to come in and to talk. But let me tell you something. One of the main reasons they don't like Dr. Claude Anderson, in my opinion, beyond his support for reparations, that's one of the main reasons, is he does not toe the Democrat line to get a whiff of a biscuit, some crumbs. He doesn't use his education to miseducate us. They don't like him because he's not seeking Democrat approval. Dr. Claude called out the immigration issue to replace us long time ago. If you get his book, Powernomics, by the way, you can just find that on his website, I believe, at powernomics.com. On page 92, it says, know your competitors. I've talked about this many times. If you follow my work, you know I've done that on this platform and several others. Yes? One of the things that he says here is that in 1972, yes, 72, y'all, He said the National Hispanic Party conceived a plan to subordinate Black Americans by the year 2000 by bringing in a layer of minority ethnic groups between whites and Blacks. The Hispanic empowerment strategy is to track and copy everything that Black Americans do politically and economically, then offer Hispanics as a more socially acceptable alternative to Blacks. Now, he said this a long time ago. Not only did he say that, he said in his book, if you skip to page 194, he said that throughout most of the 19th and 20th centuries, listen, he said Black leaders were aware of the negative impact immigrants had on Black Americans and petitioned the federal government to halt open immigration until the nation had rendered justice to Black Americans. Did you all know that? In the mid-1960s, however, Black leaders made two dramatic reversals, he said, that have lasting effects on Blacks and from which they would never recover. He said, first, Black leaders abandoned Black people and reversed the commitment of civil rights from Blacks to humanitarian support for all struggling people. And second, they not only dropped their opposition to immigration, but began to support it. Now, that organization, that print publication, News One, is backed and supported, and oftentimes you hear the insight and the input and even sometimes op-eds from individual so-called Black leaders that Dr. Claude Anderson called out many years ago. This is the reason why they don't like Dr. Claude Anderson in major part. And that's exactly why those of us who understand how power really works and the true problem need to support him. And we need to be looking at his playbook and then start to organize and meet to see how we can implement many parts of it. Yes, my name is Vicky Dillon. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. Shout out to the great living legend, Dr. Claude Anderson. Be sure, beloved, to subscribe to my email list on my website at vickyplanet.com. I've got a lot of upcoming yummy products.
As Latinos, we need to have more empathy for the Cubans being wrongly deported because no, we don't. Okay, this is exactly what you wanted. Inadvertently, you voted for this. All right, I'm reminded of that little jingle. I will vote for Donald Trump. And now that they're getting deported, I think, cógete a Donald Trump. You voted yourselves out. You voted your family members out by voting him in. You thought that it was only going to be los negritos, the ones that look like me that were going to be, deported, okay? And no, see, I know a Cuban guy. I knew a Cuban guy up until last week. His name was Usnavi. And if you know Cubans, there's always one of them named Usnavi. When your name is literally spelled out U.S. Navy and you have U.S. agents cuffing you, y tú estás, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Que te vas pa'l carajo ahora, eh? And this dude was a janitor, but janitor in New Jersey, you can make a lot of money. He had a pickup truck. Él tenía su banderita gringa, tú me entiendes. He was very proud to be an American. Come to find out que te enviaron para Cuba de nuevo. It's hilarious and at the same time it's upsetting. I've always gotten along con los que no son niega raza. The people that are Latin, Caribbean, that don't deny their blackness. ¿Por qué? Because our ancestors over here in this country used to hang together. You understand? Julio Roldan, 1970. Look it up. The information's out there, all right? Cubans, you got that movie Scarface, and it just put you on another fucking roller coaster of a ride in your mind. ¿Te creía que the world is yours, chico? No, it's not. And by the way, Al Pacino ruined that movie, and he ruined Carlito Way playing a Puerto Rican. And it wasn't me, by the way. I did not see Usnavi and say 1-800 yellow, 1-800 make the drinks cold. It wasn't me. It just so happened to happen that someone in his workplace didn't like him. They ratted him out. They got him at work. Okay, that's crazy. It's insane. Porque he thought that they were only gonna get the ones that didn't work. Motherfucker, they coming after you because it's easier to find the ones that are working than the ones that are not working. When people are at work, you don't know where the fuck they at, okay? But when people are at work, it's easy to find them. Así que te cogieron. And I went to kindergarten. I'm sure most of us did. And I was always taught that the color orange meant danger. Cuidado, por ahí viene algo. Green meant go, ¿verdad? Pero since forever, orange has always meant stop, drop, precaution, mira para los lados, something's happening. So I would never vote orange. It could be another orange person that goes up and they want me to vote. No way, you orange, bro. I don't trust the color orange. That's the sign of a penitentiary. They put them in orange so that you can see them coming from a mile away. This his skin is telling you que viene por ahí, va a ser algo malo. Y como quiera la gente, no, ese es el mío. Cubans think that is family member. Like, oh yeah, ese es primo mío, puede ser el trompa ese. Váyanse al carajo, choco de pendejo. And by the way, you didn't see the writing on the wall? Like, you coming from a country where shit like this has happened, you didn't see like, oh yeah, this looks familiar. No, hay que ser pendejo, man.
He wants to keep helping Latinos in the U.S. Let's do things the right way, and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family, and let's make America great again.
Necesitamos a Trump. Let's make America great again.
A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's go.
I'm just happy we in good hands. I know this 4 years is going to be one hell of a run. I know he's going to do a lot of great things for the whole Spanish community. Especially, we're going to make America great again.
I'm glad I gave that vote to Mr. Trump, and me and Anuel AA are here supporting. Que viva Puerto Rico, and let's make America great again.
Congratulations, President Trump.
We need you. We need you back, right?
You know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are? Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are. But it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Nikki Jam, do you know Nikki? She's hot.
What do you mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Y'all thought black people, black Americans, African Americans, blacks, us, were immigrants. Hardest lessons, clearly, it's going to take me a long time to learn and figure out is that other people just don't know what I know. I assume that a lot of people know what I know. That's why y'all keep saying that, huh? That makes sense, I guess. The we're next. Y'all think, what? How do y'all not know how long we've been a part of this country? Black people fought in the Crispus Attucks. Did everybody not, at my little church, every Black History Month, there was this huge thing. I'll never forget when I came to my grandma's house. It was a huge package, and it was all of these cards. They were ABC cards, but on every card, letter of the alphabet, an important person from Black history. And that was what we did all February at Sunday school. Like, we learned those cards. We would have to, and then we'd line up at like the Black History program, and we'd have to read them out loud. So I guess I just assumed, oh my God.
Welcome back to AfroZudi. I really appreciate your support and I hope you all are doing well. Latinos voted for DJT because they knew that Black folks are immigrants and that they will get deported. Now, it's the Latinos getting deported. It's the Latinos being hunted down like animals by the eyes and being detained. Now the same Latinos are requesting the very Black folks to stand in solidarity with them, that this is the time that they should unite together as minority groups. And mark you, some of the Latinos are calling Black folks the N-word publicly and also claiming that they are Afro-Latinos and they're allowed to use that N-word. For the sake of God, who said that? Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get into the video straight away, and credit belongs to the original creators of this video. I'm your host and presenter, Judy.
Hey guys, quick observation. I think I found another piece of the puzzle when it comes to trying to figure out why the Latinos voted against their own interests. Latinos, Hispanics, all of them. I've been hearing these reports come in that the Latino Hispanic community actually believed that African Americans, us, were immigrants, and that all of this immigrant mass deportation of the immigrants, they were thinking, since we were the immigrants, that we would be the ones deported. Now, my first question is, how the hell did y'all come up with that African Americans are immigrants? We're not immigrants. We didn't come here on our own. We didn't cross any border on our own. We didn't do that.
A lot of us
Excuse
been
me.
here.
We were stolen. We were bought here. We were brought here.
A lot of us was not brought here.
We are not immigrants because we were brought here, and then our ancestors procreated. We are citizens. We've been in this country long enough that we are citizens. The immigrant status does not apply to us. And because you guys were so uneducated, and I don't know who you were listening to, but you believe anything when it comes to Black people. Your anti-Blackness
this is our land.
Egged you on to believe this foolery that we're immigrants. Not once has African Americans been described as immigrants. Who told y'all that? And why the hell are you stupid enough to take that word? All you had to do was Google. Bam, right there. There's your answer. But it's been reported a lot of them really and truly, honestly felt that way. And they thought we were the immigrants they were talking about. And because they have no love lost for us, they were cool with that. Yeah, I'm down with that. That's why that 68 or 78% of Latinos in Florida, that's why over 50% of the entire community voted for Trump, because they thought they were giving us the boot. We've been here a hell of a lot longer than they are, and they come here with the arrogance to think that they could help put us out. I have no empathy, sympathy, compassion, consideration, zilch, none, nada. It is now being proven, and even your own people are coming out snitching on y'all how y'all truly feel about the African American race. So now I'm gonna put it to you like this: if you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Please go ahead and free yourself. Quit running around here acting like y'all some kind of way cool with us, or thinking we should band together now that y'all ass is in the sling. No. Keep that same energy. What you thought you were putting on us, you were actually putting on yourself. So I'm going to need you to keep that energy. We don't need anything else from you. We've got what we need. We know how you feel. We've heard your people testify how you were raised, how you were groomed to hate Black people, to feel you were better than Black people. And we do not forget the fact that you want to be so close to the white people. And you thought voting Republican would make them accept you, make y'all seem white. And it didn't. Because it don't matter what your skin look like. What you have not learned about the Caucasian race is that 1% of African American blood in you makes you African American. And that wasn't the term they were using when they came up with that. Just so that you know. So it doesn't matter how you look, because there's a bunch of us out there can pass just like you can. But the minute your heritage, the minute your DNA is discovered, baby, you back on the heat. So y'all learn the lesson the hard way. And for the record, no, sweetie, African Americans are not immigrants. Never have been, never will be. So that deportation stuff, that don't apply to us. See, we were the people here that helped you get here. Because without Amendment 14, you wouldn't be here. But you know, y'all always love. You always love to kill the goose with the golden egg, so to speak, when you just did that. We were your best allies. We were the closest thing you would ever find to a real friend in this country. But y'all sold yourselves out trying to sell us out. So happy selling. All right? And happy Friday. And before I get out of here, I got one last question. Since y'all know we are not immigrants, is it great again yet? Asking for a friend. Happy Friday.
Man, stop
Stop trying to convince these people that we need to stand together and all that. They ain't trying to hear that shit, bro. They've been betrayed so many times, bro. 1877, after federal troops pulled out of the South, bro. Betrayed. 40 acres and a mule, betrayed. You feel me? Jim Crow, betrayed. Redlining, betrayed. Every promise that this country has made to them has been a false promise. Mm-hmm. And now we need y'all to stand with us while we march. Leave them people alone. They ain't trying to hear that shit. They ain't trying to hear that shit because they know how prevalent racism is in our community. And they know how y'all talk about them when they ain't in the room. And they know that now y'all got y'all N-word wake up. Didn't y'all? Y'all got that Paul Mooney N-word wake up call. Right. And now y'all want to scream unity and solidarity. Nah, bro. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. The people that have been working together will continue to work together. The people that have empathy for your plight and your situation will continue to have empathy for your plight and situation. But don't try to convince people to come join your side. Like, it's always been. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're trying to survive their damn self. They're trying to figure out how this man is about to get rid of the 13th and 14th Amendment and strip them of citizenship. What, you don't think they know what time it is? They got to deal with their own shit. I'm just saying, I see a lot of videos where people are like trying to convince, Black Americans that they need to stand side by side with Black and brown unity, but when it's something that doesn't benefit us, we ain't screaming that shit. Yeah, get mad. Go ahead. You know I'm fucking right.
I'm doing a Dear Black People series from a Latino because there's a lot of quiet stuff that needs to be said out loud about Latinos concerning Blackness. So I'm gonna break this up into different little parts, just to keep it short. But the most important thing that I need Black people to understand is that the level of retardation that Latinos have going on in their own community definitely outmatches yours in the way that, yes, Latino culture is racist by nature. And so it's not just a racism thing against you, it's a racism against ourselves. And we do ourselves worse than we do y'all. It's like this. I want you to imagine that in your community, light skins actually made an actual effort to keep dark skins down on purpose.
Welcome back, guys. I've been watching several clips of the Latinos begging the Black folks for unity and also to stand in solidarity with them, that this is the best time that minority groups should be united together. I remember last year, November 5th, before that date, the Black folks tried warning them several times that, you know what, you should not vote for this man because he's gonna deport you. But they gave a damn beer. They just went ahead and voted for him. Now, the same Latinos are begging for unity. They are begging for sympathy from the Black folks. The Latinos who voted for this man, they voted for their community to get deported, meaning they didn't want them there. I watched a very emotional clip of an ICE arresting a Latino, and he was saying that he is documented, he is a US citizen. Why is he getting arrested forcefully by the ICE? But ICE still went ahead and arrested him. I don't know whether he was detained or deported. It was last week that I watched that clip. And now that Latinos were claiming that the Black folks are undocumented immigrants, I think they didn't learn a lot of history about the Black folks in the United States. They didn't know that United States is their land. They belong there. It's their soil. So in case of any deportation, the black folks are not going to get deported anywhere. Remember, black folks tried warning minority groups that you should not vote for this man. We know who he is. Even there is this clip I inserted here about a Latino man telling them that orange is such a dangerous color and even he cannot vote for an orange color. He'd rather vote for green or blue. And Latinos still didn't learn about that. You've watched videos, some of the videos I uploaded about those who sang, I will vote for Donald Trump. They're in trouble. One of them was deported. Another one, her husband was detained by ICE. And imagine you are cheering that man, saw her during the campaigns, knowing that he's gonna favor you. Now, they wanted to be so close to whiteness. They wanted to experience or have that white privilege so much. But now they didn't know, they're not like them. They won't be favored. That man just wanted their votes and he has it. He can do anything that he wants. Some of them were saying that this is not what they voted for, that they have been betrayed beyond betrayal.
Hear me out. I want y'all to hear me out. So you remember people kept saying, but you guys, what are you going to do when you guys are next? When black people are next? Because after us, what are you going to do? Because they're going to be after you. So you are that unaware about what's been going on in the black community for centuries that you think that we haven't been suppressed, oppressed. Are you kidding me? That blows my mind. And you expect me to run to want to help you? Our babies been getting snatched up out our arms. Our houses been getting burnt up. Our fathers been getting killed. Our mothers been getting raped. We been getting charged with stuff we didn't do. Kids been getting snatched up and locked up for crimes they did not commit. So when you see me say, I'm stepping back, this y'all fight, y'all got it, I sincerely mean it. I'm resting and I'm raising my children. That's what y'all did. And you still don't get it. Crazy.
So wait, people really thought that African Americans were immigrants? Yeah, I know y'all lying. Don't immigrants go like on their own if they, they go to a particular country on their own accord, because they may be trying to get away from whatever. We ain't come here because we wanted to be here. We still don't want to be here. Hell, we hoping that they maybe put us out and send us somewhere. Well, what do y'all mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Immigrants? Y'all know the story of how we got here? Do that make sense? Like, so many, this world is so disillusioned about African Americans. We're descendants of Africa, but we've been here for hundreds of years. We're not first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth. Like, we've been here. We built this country. The foundation of this country is built by African Americans. We didn't come here because we want to be here. Like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all thought we were immigrants. Immigrants? Who? Where? Immigrants? I got papers to prove I ain't no immigrant. Like, some of the stuff that I hear on social media is correct. Like, for real, y'all thought we were immigrants. Come on now. Stop playing. We don't want to be here now. Get us out of here.
Welcome back to Afro Judy. I really appreciate your support and I hope you all are doing great. Black Americans claps back after some of the Latinos thought that the Black folks are immigrants and that they are the next group to get deported after the Latinos. But where does this really come from? Is it rooted into misunderstanding, misinformation, or something deeper? Now I understand that perhaps this is the main reason as to why a majority of the Latinos voted for DJT in order to punish the Black folks, because they knew that maybe the Black folks are immigrants. So guys, without wasting time, let's get straight into the video, and credit belongs to the original creators of these clips and stitches. I'm your host and presenter, Judy.
I just realized that y'all really think Black Americans, or thought Black Americans, were immigrants. Dude, get it together. I'm not afraid for them to be coming for me as an immigrant. My great-great-grandfather was 11 years old when they freed the slaves, okay? And guess what? His parents were born here. So, homie, I'm not a first generation anything. I'm multiple generations here. So keep with the stupid threats like, oh, be afraid because they'll come for you next. We didn't immigrate here, homie. We been here. If you really want to look back and they want to go there, they'll find out that we were even here before old Columbus. So not even that, but if you could just start with Columbus and the slave trade, we were born here. We're actually the real citizens. So stop with the BS. And if you want to start tripping, some of you Europeans was only 1 or 2 generations in. So don't act crazy. Let's get real.
I'm so glad we had the conversation about Black Americans not being immigrants, because I learned so much about how immigrants think about us. Like, I always had that knowledge of, like, they were propagandized by America to think that we were lazy and criminals and all the worst things a person could be. They said that Black Americans were. But I never paid it no never mind, because we all conditioned by this country. It's Black Americans who think that too. Everybody in this country is sick. Some of us just realize it and some of us don't. One African sister got on here and said she did think that we were immigrants. And the reason why she thought that was because of the term African American. When she thinks about, like, different types of Americans, like Italian American, for example, those people came over on Ellis Island. She thought that African Americans at one point immigrated here. I don't know how she married that with slavery, but that is what she thought. The term African American got her messed up. And I understand that, but I still, because Italy is a country, Africa's not. So if you were to say Italian American, that pinpoints the place where the person immigrated from. But we said African American because we don't know. Africa's a whole continent. If I was Nigerian, I would say I was Nigerian American. So while I do understand their point of view, I still find it to be very anti-Black. And also, that's the reason why I'm not calling myself African American anymore. I'm Black American. That's it.
Doomsday, my people. How y'all feeling? Thugged out? Me too. Cheers. I think I be a little naive sometimes, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt intellectually, because when the Hispanic Latino community kept saying to us, y'all will be next, y'all will be next, I promise you it never crossed my mind that they thought we were immigrants. I never thought that they were that dense. Never. Like, I thought when they were saying that, they were saying like, oh, once they're done with us, they'll be harassing you next. And that's why in all my videos, when I was speaking on it earlier on, I'm like, we know that, bitch. We always been the target. Like, I thought they was just saying we'll be targeted next. I had no idea they thought we were immigrants. That shit is comedy. Def Comedy Jam. Where y'all at? We need to reboot, because what? Ain't no way. Ain't no way y'all that dense to have thought we was immigrants. Ain't no fucking way. I couldn't believe it. Now that I'm seeing all of these videos and the Hispanics and Latinos are confirming, like, yeah, a lot of the people in the community don't know that the history of Black Americans, and that they're not immigrants, and that some of them are indigenous, and that most of them came over here and are descendants of slaves. And I'm like, they didn't know that? What? And it's not like I'm thinking they should go research some history and culture that's not theirs. It's just, this is common knowledge.
Had to take a deep breath on this one, because, you know, while I'm going through my day and the weeks that have passed, and while I understand the plight, and I'm very saddened and disheartened by the immigration and the way that things are happening, it's not even you know, immigration is callousness, and it is hateful. It's very hateful. And while I feel very disheartened by this, I also need to say, you know, when I look around and when I listen, even where I work, you know, it's like all of these, we are feeling, you know, we're feeling, you know, if you guys need any resources and things like that, you know, we're here for you, and all these hearts and everything are going up. And then I felt my eyes starting to tear up. And the reason why I felt my eyes starting to tear up is because no matter what, it's like Black women are still, or Black people is still not going to be acknowledged. No matter what. No matter what. Nobody's saying anything about all those murders that happened in 2020 under this administration, and yet and still he has given 100% complete police immunity. We got some J6ers that's out there, and some oath keepers and some Proud Boys that's sitting out there as part of ICE. Don't tell me that it's not. It is. And we understand that there's pure racism there. Okay, so we also understand that we can be unalived at any time, and nobody is even going to check for us. There's no funds being set up. There's nothing. It's like we always out here by ourselves. So I'm sorry. This platform is for me to come and speak my truth, and I have to speak my truth today. What about us? See, that's the problem, and that's exactly what happened with this election. Is that people were so focused on one particular thing. And while I am so, you know, very unnerved by the method that these ICE people are using in order to get people, we also understand what it's like to have our family split apart. And I'm not just talking about enslavement. I'm talking about through time. Whether it's putting us in prison, whether it is putting us in convict leasing, whether it is unaliving us, whether it is setting us on fire, whether it is, you know, stopping us from voting, whether it is, whatever it is. It's like there's nothing. We're always left in the dark and the dust. And so people keep voting on a singular matter. And even though a group of people voted against their own demise, I have to ask the question. I see many folks are also asking, you know, or perplexed on why the African-American community is not getting out there. Well, let me explain something. We have been let down over and over and over, including right now. We have been let down over and over and over, and nobody ever came to help us, even in present day. Before you tell me about some George Floyd, there was a whole lot of people that were being unalived. It was the worst year ever. And it wasn't until that was actually seen, even though people knew about it, but they weren't saying anything. And so for the people that sit up there and ask us, where are you? You also talked about us really, really badly. And in many cases still do. And so I think it's totally disrespectful to come and ask us for anything at this moment, especially when you know the history of this nation and how the history of this nation has treated us. And even still, we still fought for the rights that many people let down by the wayside. We fought for civil rights. We fought for the removal of segregation. We fought for equal schools. We fought to vote. We fought. And people just let it fall by the wayside. 89 million people didn't vote. Huh? 53% of one group voted this way, another 47. You understand? And even though We screamed at the mountaintops and we warned people and everything. Nobody still says it. You know, when it comes to the voting, we're still voting on one singular thing. And that's why things are in the conundrum that they're in right now. That's why, because you weren't thinking of society as a whole. You didn't care nothing about this group of people over here. You didn't care nothing about this group of people over here. You only was caring about your own self. And that's why everything is happening right now. It is to those people that were only caring about themselves. I don't care how the message was given.
See, people like this. This is such a serious time we live in. But there's people like this who brought all the immigrants into the motherfucking country, bro. Just like these people been voting. These people have been voting these immigrants in forever. You see, now this is ridiculous, man. You let all these people into the country. That's treasonous. Traitor us. We mad at you, man. We looking at you like you the motherfucking reason. We ain't, you, man. You mad that immigrants didn't keep y'all in power? Is that what this is all about, man?
Listen to the message.
Who wanted those immigrants to vote for Kamala and a Joe? They know that's ridiculous.
Not the messenger. But because the messenger happened to look like myself, huh? People didn't want to listen, they dismissed it. They talked about us. They did everything else. And so now here we are. And like I said, once again, while we are saddened, until people start looking at other groups and looking at society as a whole, like we do.
Yeah, like the open borders.
And not just voting according to their own selfish and self-centered interests, like we don't.
Yeah, like you, sister girl, Swarties.
Until folks start looking at, wait a minute, if society is okay, that means that the elderly are going to be okay. That means that the cost of living is going to look like this, is going to go down, and that looks like more housing is going to be built. That looks like these safety net programs are not going to be cut. That looks like our veterans are getting the care that they need. That's what it looks like. That's a
democratic hustle, ma'am. That's a democratic hustle. All that housing, you can't be on housing forever anymore, ma'am. We ain't rehashing that. You won't be getting $1,000 in fucking food stamps anymore. So safety net programs. Man, that's a scam. They've been giving that to the illegals. No. Work by the sweat of your brow, man. That's what the good book say. Work by the sweat of your goddamn brow, man. You'll quit promising people all kind of gifts if they vote blue, no matter who.
It looks like cancer research will continue. It looks like we're going to continue to look for new ways to help people. We're not going to take anything away from them. But we can streamline it. We can encourage. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. So yeah. I'm a little disturbed today because people are still, while I did mention African American people, I'm talking about really people as a whole. People didn't vote for people as a whole. And that's why everything is so damaged and fragmented.
Nah, I know it ain't.
Because those people were damaged and fragmented.
Because y'all have said boys can be girls and girls can be boys.
Well, I've said my piece. And I mean absolutely every word.
Transition our motherfucking kids at them schools, man. We are pissed about that, man. You don't want to do this. You ain't getting away with this. You ain't getting back in power so you can transition no babies. You nuts. You and Tampon Tim, y'all want Tampon Tim be vice president? You think Gavin Newsom is getting power? You got another motherfucking thing coming, man. There ain't gonna be a policy all over this. There ain't gonna be policy all over this country. Then if we say something that's child abuse, are you nuts? Oh, we y'all just voting for single issue. We got a whole bunch of issues with y'all there. Boy, this is a big motherfucking issue. We're not finna vote. We're not finna vote ourselves into oblivion, ma'am. You can't scam us no more. How much you gonna pay for this shit? Trying to slip your message. And we're just about not getting deported. Then you ranted about it. The Democrats not being in power. Hell no, you ain't getting back in power.
This is not against anybody. This is sharing my piece and what I've seen in my 59 years of living. Yeah. Power to everybody. until we learn to love each other and not mistaking respect for fear or fear for respect.
See?
Then and only then.
This is how the Rainbow Flag Coalition got their hands on the Black Power symbol. Man, what the hell are you talking about? Power to who? Who getting the power, ma'am? Huh? We want to know. Who are you giving that power to, ma'am? This is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with our people. Are they delusional? Man, we got to fight back. We having some victories. We won't be transitioning the kids on our watch, ma'am. I know they're hurt. I know you think that's a hate crime, but it's not.
Will we be able to rise up? When we are able to look at ourselves in the mirror and see a reflection of God and the goodness and the love and the power and the sound mind, until we are able to do that, then we will not be able to love on one another, because we certainly do not love ourselves. And when you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? So I guess the message of this is love. Learn it fast,
ma'am.
Because we got some demons out there right now. The only way to get through it is with love and this word. So power to my people. Power to my people. Bye.
Welcome back, guys. The Black Indigenous identity was never lost. It was stolen and now it's being reclaimed. Right now, I understand the main reason as to why some of the communities always get upset whenever Black folks come up with discussions involving the reparations. And some of the minority groups from the United States do not understand this, that thousands of Black Indigenous families from the United States were intentionally erased from history. The Choctaw, the Cherokee, the Blackfoot, and even other native nations once involved African descended people, the freedmen, the intermarried families, and even the descendants of those indigenous people who were too Black for the white record keepers. And mark you, these families, they lived in those native communities for quite a long period of time before Columbus even arrived. Then in late 1800s and early 1900s, during the Jim Crow, do you know whatever the United States government did? It reclassified these people as either Negro or colored. And it didn't matter whether you spoke the language, whether you lived within the tribal territory, or whether you are raised from that culture. Why? Because Black people were automatically removed from the Indian by blood rolls, then they were put into the freedmen category. And this move really affected many people because it erased them from legal and cultural identity, and even locked some of the descendants out of their lands and even cultural citizenship and rights. And some of the records still exist, the talk cards, the parish land records, the census rolls from 1800s. They prove that these people are both Black and Native, and that their recognition was robbed. And today, the FBAs are fighting back using genealogy, the DNA, the land deeds, and even the oral history. And they are reclaiming their lineage to a point that in some cases they win tribal citizenship. For instance, whatever happened in Cherokee Nation in 2017. And I'm still surprised that some of the minority groups are still calling Black Americans the immigrants. This shows that they didn't learn the Black American history, and yet they claim that history is being taught in the United States. I know there are some part of history of Black Americans that are being erased. The students are not being taught that, because there was a university student, she's a US citizen. She was saying that up to the time she went to the university is when she started learning about slavery. She didn't know anything to do with that. That means in primary school, in secondary school, she didn't learn anything about that. That's why I'm saying that there are some parts of Black American history that are being erased. I think the government is trying to erase them. It doesn't want people to learn more about it. Sorry to say this. But these minority groups who have been living in the United States and have US citizenship, they could have already took their time to learn the Black American history. And as if that's not enough, there are even some of the Africans who really knew that Black Americans are immigrants. I know it's shocking, but I know some people might say that no, it's because the Africans don't like us. Not all Africans don't like Black Americans. You know, I've been telling people that Africans, we were in a deep sleep coma, but now we are waking up, and it's good to learn others' history. Some also say that it's the Africans who sold us. I know the history is too tough to learn, and it also takes courage to learn it. But the minority groups who are claiming that the Black Americans are immigrant, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you need to dig deeper and learn their history so well, because you can't come online. For instance, right now, I can't come here and tell you guys boldly that Black Americans are immigrants. From where? You know what people will say next? That this girl, she didn't dig deeper into our history. She just came here and said nonsense, then left, you know. I know that's what people will say. That's why you always need to take your time. You dig deeper and learn about it. I was even reading some of the comments. There was this teacher from the United States. She said that there is a student of hers who asked her where she was from. And she was like, I'm from the United States. This is our land. The student was so shocked because perhaps the student knew that their teacher is from another country and she relocated to the United States. That's what majority of the people knows. And that's why I was saying that there are some parts of Black American history which are not being taught in schools, and people need to learn them. They are so important. I know some kind of stuff they always teach about this, about these students are for the Rosa Parks, the MLK, and they only teach it during the Black History Month. This is something which is to be taught every day, to be learned every day, so that it can stick in their minds. They should know that their ancestors really suffered. It wasn't a joke. It was so serious. Sometimes you can be sitting down and reading the history and you'll find yourself shedding tears. Because if you can imagine that thing happening in this century, do you think this generation will withstand it? I think not. So I'm not saying that the Latinos should not stay in the United States. If you are legal in the United States, then it's well. Or even in other country, if you are there legally, it's okay. But if you are not legally, actually you need to get papers. Then again, ICE arresting and detaining these Latinos. I know the feeling they're feeling or they are having right now. In fact, ICE should be asking them, do you have papers or it's in the process? I know they don't have time to ask such kind of questions, but these are kind of questions they should be asking, because getting those papers, it's not easy. It requires money, time, and the processing time, it's very, very long. So some people, I know they can't afford it, but if you are in a country illegally, you should be questioning yourself because it was your fault.
Coming from a Hispanic, you know, Puerto Rican and Dominican or whatever, right? Hispanic people, they racist as fuck, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hispanic people racist as shit. I'm all right. Tell y'all a little story. I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, right? In my family, I'm the only one that got this texture hair, right? Well, not now because you know, my sister got her kids Hispanic and black, my kids Hispanic and black. So, but my immediate family, all that, right? The only one that got this texture hair, this texture beard, and all that, it's me, because I'm the only one
from my cousins, to my brothers, to my sisters, to my aunts, my uncles, all of them. I was the only one that was Puerto Rican and Dominican. Like I remember as a kid, like I love my uncle, but he crazy. But I remember my uncle as a kid telling me, "Oh, like you got that peasy hair and shit like that." Because everybody in my family got that slick shit, that you know what I'm saying. So I'm always thinking, I'm like, all right, my hair peasy, my hair bad, and that's until I met my wife, and she taught me about hair textures. How some people got 3, some people got it was like 3C, 3/4, whatever the fuck she was telling me. But she told me about hair texture and shit like that. Now I'll be going down memory lane and shit. And I'm like, damn, my family really used to be racist as shit. It's not funny because it's not funny, but when you think about it, you're like, yo, they really was really out here being racist. And you know what's crazy? It's crazy that it be like older Hispanic people that be the most racist. Like I remember, like Puerto Ricans got this word that they use called moyo, and that's to describe like that's the derogatory word for black people, like the Hispanics use. They be like, oh, ese es un moyo, blah blah blah, el moyo ese, and then they say another, moyo apestoso, whatever the fuck they want to say, right? And I'm like, damn, bro, like I ain't really use the word because I thought the word was stupid. Like it was just, the fuck is a moyo anyway? Like to me, it's like, what the fuck is that? But yeah, these LA riots just showing me, like, because they've been coming out with people, calling cops the N-word. They've been coming out with a video with Shorty talking about some, she ain't even coming to America because it was all so great. It was slightly better than Mexico. Bruh, just if it was slightly better, how about you get your ass back over there then? That's just how I feel at this point, bruh.
When I was learning who I was so excited to know pretty much where I come from. That, hey, man, listen, this whole time we thought we were Mexicans. And although technically we are, there's something deeper to just being Mexican. So when I was learning the history, I remember I thought that if I shared it with my mom, I would perhaps awaken something in her and perhaps also help her develop pride in that. So one day, I sat with her and I said, hey, Mom, I was doing some research and I was finding out that we people from where we're from, we were known as Chichimeca. And she looks at me and she says, huh? It's like, yeah, like, we spoke an indigenous language and we're indigenous people, Mom. And she says, no, we're not. I said, Mom, what do you mean? We're indigenous people. And she said, ¿estás pendejo? I said, then what are we, Mom? And she says, somos mexicanos. Like, yeah, I know, but ethnically, we're Mexicans because we're born there. Sure, I got you. But ethnically, what are we? And she's so puzzled. Somos mexicanos, mijo. Yeah, Mom, but that's our nationality. We're just born in Mexico, sure. But ethnically, Mom, what are we? She looks at me, she says, no sé, pero no somos pinches indios. And that's when I realized, you see, it's worked. The plan and the efforts of the colonizer have worked. We are ashamed to be what we're supposed to be. Or more accurately, we were taught to be ashamed of our origins. So now we have a bunch of people talking about, yo no soy un pinche indio. And then we refer to people of Oaxaca, Oaxaquita. See, all these things begin to make sense to me. Everything begins to make sense. Now, me thinking back on when I was a kid and my dad used to call her pinche Oaxaquita fea. Now I was like, I get it. So now that I bring forth this piece of knowledge, piece of information to my mom, we're indigenous people. All she probably, her trauma told her, is my son trying to tell me that we're those Oaxaquitas? So it makes complete sense why we are the way that we are. And not just the self-shame aspect of it. Not only are we taught to feel ashamed of who we are, so we're over here talking about, oh, somos de España and stuff like that, right? But worse is we also have these people trying to throw terminologies at us, talking about Latino, Hispanic. Notice how everything they throw at us identifies us as people of Europe. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the systemic effort is to do their best to try to identify us as if we're people of Europe? How come they never try to umbrella us all as indigenous people? If you must umbrella us all, why is it always the umbrella of the identity that belongs to Europeans? Why are we never umbrellaed under the identity of indigenous people?
Why is the Latinx community so divided, especially in the US? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Anthropology 101. My name is Leslie, and I'm currently a grad student in anthropology. In this series, my goal is to talk about humanity, global topics, and anthropology. I've been wanting to talk about this problem that we have within the Latin community, and it really goes back to our dark colonial times. The Spanish developed a system called La Casta, or the caste system, which put people into racial categories or racial groups. This is what it looked like. So your value depended on your racial makeup. So if you were 100% European, you would be at the top, and then mestizo, and then native, and then mulatto, and 100% African descent. It was disgusting, dehumanizing, and unfortunately, it has evolved into what we call now colorism. Colorism is such a huge issue within our community. And it really means that the lighter you are, the more high you are, the more valuable you are. And the darker, more indigenous, more African that you look, that you are not as beautiful, not as valuable. An example of it is a lot of Hispanic communities think about this concept of mejorar la raza, better the race, which means that if you marry somebody who's lighter complected, your children will be lighter. And there is this obsession with Eurocentrism and Eurocentric beauty and standards in Latin America. That is a fact. It is prevalent in Hispanic media, like telenovelas, for example. There is hatred towards people who are darker complexion in the Hispanic community, unfortunately. If you are more indigenous, if you are more Afro descent, then in the Hispanic community, you are discriminated a lot by your own people. I have been rejected a lot by my own people. And it is because of colorism. It is because our dark colonial times. And we really have to talk about it and understand this. And I believe that by talking about these uncomfortable things and learning about it is what's going to have us have conversations and really understand each other. It is a beautiful thing to live in a diverse world where we all look a little bit different, where we all eat different food, where we all have our different languages. It is so beautiful to live in a world like that. But unfortunately, it is not appreciated. And we need to make a difference by talking about it, by discussing it, and just having, like I always say, some empathy.
Hello, tribe. Welcome again to this particular channel. I go by Sherlock, and I hope you're doing good. You're doing great wherever, at what time you're watching us from. Now, Hispanics, the Latinos, Mexicans, they've been low-key racist. And of course, from the latest protest, it has shown clearly, even from the video that we've just watched as our prelude, of the very many reactions and also input of the same that we're going to watch shortly, proves that Latinos have always been, anti-Black. And even as we have shades of the Hispanics, so it means that we've got shades, like we've got brighter, when it comes to the versions of how, bright you are, the more inclined to white, the lesser you are, the lesser you are. I mean, like the far away from the proximity per se. And of course, the darker you are. So it has proved this one particular, a concept that the Latinos, they've always held these ideology with themselves. But again, it is something that stands out to be like self-confliction here. I mean, like you're self-convicted that, yeah, I've always been a racist. And of course, they cannot come out publicly and claim that one by calling the N-word, of the, of the Black Americans, and also any other person of, the dark-skinned complexion, that particular context. But they will always exhibit these one through, their expressions, how they express themselves, how they feel, their worthiness towards, inclining themselves to whiteness. So guys, I've put together all these particular clips, courtesy of the creators. And then, of course, we watch, Yes, and as usual, as we do it here, guys, circling back at the end of this particular show with my own thoughts, comments over the same. But again, don't forget to do dropping us your comments on the comment section. What is your take? Do you feel that there's something that the Hispanics and the Latinos to that end are not able to publicly say, but it is exhibited? You know, you can see this one through their actions, how they react to some dynamics like what we saw lately, the Los Angeles, protest, and how the blacks are not showing up and how they've responded to that one. So let me know of your thoughts on the comment section. But again, as I told you earlier, we watch, and then of course circling back at the end of this particular one with more thoughts of this. So let's keep on watching.
Racism in the Latino community is absolutely horrendous. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was introduced to this Salvadorian girl by one of my friends. The school that I went to for a short period of time, it was predominantly Black, Hispanic, and Latino, with Hispanic and Latino being the majority. When I first met her, she had long brown hair, big brown eyes, and red rosy cheeks. I took a liking to her. We're heading into winter break, and we decided to get to know each other during that time. We talked pretty much every day. We went on a few dates. It was a great experience. During this time, we were sharing so much about each other's culture. She was telling me all about El Salvador and Salvadoran culture, and I was telling her more about Black culture that she didn't know about. Despite our different races and backgrounds and how heavily divided our school was, we still had a good relationship. After winter break, her and I decided that in the future, we were going to keep our relationship on the down low. Only close friends will know about our relationship. At the time, I did not understand why we even did this in the first place. Why is it such a problem and a nuisance to keep our relationship a secret from everybody else? What's also strange to me is her family allows her to be in a relationship. However, she also wanted to keep that from her parents as well. Like I said, I didn't understand why, but I went along with it anyway. At this time, this was one of the most healthiest relationships I've ever been in because she genuinely cared about me and my well-being, and the connection was astronomical. A few months that felt like days has passed, and then the worst has finally come. Our relationship has spread it all across the school, and in the beginning, people responded with positive feedback until the next day. An abundant amount of Hispanic and Latinos in the community was very displeased and unsatisfied with my relationship with her. She kept getting threats of comments of people saying that she should not be dating a Black man. He is Black. You should not be dating her. You should be dating an Hispanic man. You should be dating a Latino man. At the time, she did the best she could to fight for me, her, and our relationship. However, in the end, she was suffering from too much mental and emotional pain. Eventually, some people in the Latino community went out of their way to contact her mother to tell her that she is dating a Black man. As it turns out, despite her wanting to be in a relationship with me, her family was very racist and discriminative towards Black people. Her family was comparing me to Black stereotypes, ghetto, hood rat, a thief, made some other comments like Black people are beneath us, they are third rate, you shouldn't be stooping so low to date someone like that. Apparently, a lot of the people in the Latino community who showed disinterest in our relationship thought and felt the same way, but more on colorism. My skin complexion was a threat and a problem to them because they did not like me dating another Latino woman. There were some other Latino men who was very jealous of the fact that I was dating someone like her. With all due respect, she is very attractive, especially with the school that we went to. Her and I was forced to break up and we discontinued our relationship. But unfortunately, it gets worse. There was these two Latino men who was very angry of the fact that I was dating her to begin with, and they wanted to fight me. At the time, I lacked combat skills and experience, and these two Latino guys who wanted to fight me were boxers. I was put at a major disadvantage, but despite this, I didn't really have a choice because there was honor and pride on the line. Despite me knowing for an absolute fact that I couldn't win against these two massive boxers, I still showed up anyway. And I fought, I got my ass beat, and I lost. Granted, my Salvadorian girlfriend at the time had no idea about any of this until I told her afterwards. After I went home looking like a complete mess and taking a very honorable ass whooping, I might add, my uncle was there and he said to me, "Did you win?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "Did you learn something from this?" Absolutely. At that moment in time, after taking a very honorable ass whooping, I decided to learn how to fight myself. A year later, I took up Taekwondo, Kung Fu, and boxing. I still do it to this day, But this is just one of those stories that, once again, I have faced through a lot of colorism and racism, especially when it comes to my relationships and friendships. And you know what? Despite that relationship ending and getting my ass beat by 2 intermediate boxers, one thing I can say for sure about myself, at least I wasn't a bitch. But why bring this up now? One is because it's one of the next stories I wanted to share with you. And two, I have been seeing so many stories from so many Black women, especially brown and dark-skinned women and men, sharing their experiences of racism and colorism from the Latino and Hispanic communities. And my people being constantly shamed and rejected because of our skin tone, because we are the Black people. Being constantly rejected and called ugly and inferior because of our skin tones is absolutely insufferable, and it can cause self-hatred within ourselves. So, to all of my beautiful melanated Black people, especially the Black women, please understand me. You are God's and Mother Nature's greatest accomplishment and greatest creation. You are the Black pearl, the onyx crystal that shines brightly when the sun radiates off of your skin. The way your body touches the sand and the water that slides off of your skin. There is nothing more beautiful than that. From your hair to your eyes and your skin tone to your wisdom and your nurturing. You are the greatest reflection of Mother Nature itself. You are absolutely fruitful, and your potential in love is insurmountable compared to anyone and anything else. Understand me. Do not let anyone destroy your self-love or to strip you away of your Blackness. Understand that you are the greatest that has ever lived. You hold values and attributes that even our ancient African goddess themselves has passed on to you. So please understand me when I say this. You are meant to be gods and goddesses. So become one. That's all I have to say on the matter. It's Onyx, and I'll see you next time.
I live in Texas, right? And you know what? I'm just like, all the stuff that's going on, I just sit back and smile because I saw this. I just want you to know that almost all of Texas Blacks, a good percentage, we voted against it because I live in Texas. I saw what was happening. I knew what was coming. Let me tell you, here in Texas, the amount of racism I've ever even come close to experiencing from Mexicans, from Spanish people. When I was a dancer, when I was a stripper, every time I would go to the club, the way that the clubs were so racist, there was a time I went to a club out in Texas. What the fuck is it called? Damn. If I'm lying, there's strippers who will be in here. And the club told me that, oh, they don't hire girls like me. This is a club full of a bunch of, I would say, illegals, because I'm sure none of them spoke English. None of them spoke English, which I low-key think they was trapping out of there. They was pimping them girls out of there. And they said, oh, they don't take girls like us. We should go down to the club down the street, the Black club. I just laugh because, let me tell you, karma is beautiful. Karma is beautiful. And you know what's funny? I went by that club a couple days ago. It's empty. It's empty. It's empty. Even though the racism applied to me, I still voted against all this shit. I voted against it. And guess what they did? Voted to hurt me.
Why are we still arguing about something that we all know the answer to? Listen, to my Hispanic brothers and sisters, we do know that all y'all did not vote for Donald Trump. But we do know that more than half of y'all did. Your argument is not with us. We have shown you what can happen. We have shown you what white people will do to you. We've shown you. But you do not want to be anywhere associated to Black folks. I mean, they're literally doing what they did in history. If you think about it, they said those who don't understand in history will be doomed to repeat it. Today, history is being
repeated in a modern way. So they say that the Hispanics, which I'm not quite sure about that, but they said the Hispanic back in the day ruled the southern part of the U.S., right? Before it was the U.S. And it was ran out by the settlers / colonizers / Europeans down into Mexico, right? Ain't that what they're doing to you today? They'll literally snatch you off the street. See, you actually getting an idea what slavery was kind of about. Not that extreme though. See, they're snatching y'all off the streets. They snatch you as you go to court. They running into your house, taking your wives, snatching your husband away from the family, leaving the kids to defend themselves. You know. See, when slavery was kind of it was a little bit more extreme than that. They was raping the wife. They was lynching the husband, and they was raping the kids and separating the families. So you just get a little taste of what, just a little bit, not even enough to not even a mustard seed of what black folks been here in America. But you want us to stand with you. Okay. But how come you ain't been standing with us before then? See, we told you not to vote for this man, but you did it anyway. You know why you did it? Because you see yourself more aligned with white America than you do black America, right? See, you put yourself in a category because you wanted to look down on us, and based on things in America, black folks is the bottom, right? But let me help you out with one thing. Every house has a foundation. Every building stands on something. I don't give a damn what they tell you. Black folk has always been the foundation to this country. Always. We don't get credit for anything. The majority of the things that you love, that helps you, that you use, was either created or somehow enhanced by black people. But now you want our help. Listen. All I can say is, first and foremost, get your house in order. Talk to your people, right? Talk to your people. Then go talk to the white people. Get them on board. Because the majority of them voted for him too. And then once you get them all on board, then y'all come over here and help the black folks out with what we got going on. Because remember, all the things that you get usually come off the blood, sweat, and tears of black folks anyway. So get your people together. Go get you to the white America. And y'all come over here to where the black folks are. And y'all help black folks get the things that they need. Because once we get it, everybody gets it. You understand? That's how it always works. But until then, you're your own dog.
I don't support anybody who's not black saying the N-word. I will say that now. But I will also say that if you are more upset about those Latinos saying the N-word than you are with the fact that there are black and Latino Hispanic police officers in uniform defending the fucking system and oppressing us, then your priorities are a little fucked up. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think there's a conversation to be had about both. And I feel like if y'all are, I see a lot of people in our community very quick to call out the Latino and Hispanic community and other marginalized groups or whatever. But why do y'all never have that energy for the raccoons and the sellouts in our communities? Why don't y'all have this energy for Black police officers that are out there defending the fucking system that's oppressing us? Like, two things can be true at the same time. Yes, anybody who's not Black shouldn't be saying the N-word, period. I don't give a fuck who you grew up around. The problem is that a lot of them feel comfortable saying the N-word because other Black people have made them feel comfortable saying the N-word. And because we aren't calling out people in our fucking community on giving these people the pass, now these people are comfortable. So that's something that we also need to acknowledge in our community, is the fact that we do let a lot of people slide with a lot of raccoon sellout shit. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, just a couple months ago, I live in the hood. Just a couple months ago, there was a white boy on Facebook who's very popular in our community and kicks it with majority Black people, I would say. He says the N-word. I called his ass out. I was one of the only people in my community to call his ass out. And guess what? The whole fucking Black community attacked me, bro. Trying to fight and all types of shit for calling out this white boy for saying the N-word. A few weeks later, same shit happened. Palestinian had to call him out on saying the N-word. I understand that you've been around us, but you is not us. And guess who came to save his day? Guess who came to save the day? Hell of my own people sat there bullying me on fucking Facebook for me calling out non-Black people for saying the N-word. So it's like, I don't want to hear shit. Y'all don't even, like, my mom's white. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. She has said the N-word. And I'm 100% positive because the Black people that she's around has made her feel comfortable saying that shit. So now I have to deal with trying to correct her and get on her fucking ass about saying it. People don't want to acknowledge that, though. Like, that shit is, like, I don't know. I'm getting tired of it. Shit goes both ways. Let's be real.
Soon as you turn on the television in Mexico, you will see a telenovela with people that look a lot like me.
But that's the problem, isn't it? Whether we identify it as white presenting, white passing, or even just a white Latina, we benefit from the colorism that's so prevalent in our community. And no hate to this creator herself, because I love the way she advocates for the Latino community and using that privilege to do so. But that's what we need more of. As a Chicana, I can tell you firsthand how frustrating it feels when somebody says, well, you don't look Latina. Or if you are Latina, then prove it, speak Spanish. Or you're one of those whitewashed Latinas, aren't you? Tell that to my immigrant mom who raised me, you know? Stuff like that is so invalidating. But at the end of the day, we need to recognize who is most deeply harmed by the colorism that we benefit from. And that is Black and Indigenous Latinos. I say this all not to point blame at this creator or anybody else who uses the caveat of media in Latino America and Mexico specifically. But this is to point out the responsibility we have to use the colorism we benefit from to uplift our more marginalized Latino brothers and sisters. And by uplifting, I do not mean speaking over, I mean amplifying, encouraging, supporting, and creating safe spaces where darker-skinned and Black Latinos can feel comfortable being in spaces that can start on TikTok, that can start in conversations about politics in Latino America, and it can go as far as anywhere and everywhere you want to take it. And we must do this all while not upholding a white savior complex, but actively trying to dismantle the colorism that takes place in our communities. Amor y paz, mi gente.
Say it with me. I don't believe that viral videos on TikTok are representative of the majority of the people in the United States. Videos such as, I don't support the Mexican or Latino community because, I don't support the Black community because, I don't support the Palestinian community because, What you will notice is that if you go to protests and you actually touch grass and go outside, is that the reality presented to you on TikTok versus the reality that you see in real life are two completely different realities. I literally just scrolled past a video of a Black woman from the Bay Area taking a flight out to LA to join the LA protests. I personally was a part of the Black Lives Matter protests, and I went all across Northern California, and at the front lines of every single Black Lives Matter protest were the Aztec danzantes, not Afro-Latinos, not Africans, just straight up Mexicans, and a lot of us. And I can't even ignore the tons and tons of kufiyas and Palestinian flags and Palestinian people and pro-Palestine movement that has obviously come out to support this movement. And every single live that I've scrolled by, every single live that I've seen, both for the Black Lives Matter protests and for the protests currently happening in LA and throughout the Bay Area and throughout California, I've seen Black folks at all of them. Literally in every screen, not just like in random videos, literally in every single screen. The people that you see getting on TikTok and saying these controversial things are seeing that other creators are saying these controversial things, and they are being rewarded by the algorithm. That doesn't mean that there isn't racism or colorism or other problems or xenophobia inside of these communities. That's not what this video means. But I encourage all of you to work backwards. If you're gonna sit and type on any video, I don't support your community because, or your community is racist and that's why I don't want to support you, or if you're gonna fix your fingers to type that shit, before you do that, I want you to look inwards. And I want you to turn your attention back to your own community. This is specifically to my Mexican people. If you fix your mouth to say or to ask, why aren't Black people coming out to the LA protests? I'm going to tell you to turn inwards and ask yourself how many times you've heard Mexican people use the N-word. I can tell you that me personally, as somebody who has lived in Inglewood, I've heard it plenty of times from people that are not Black. So let's work on this problem two ways, okay? First, let's not believe everything we see on the internet. Second, let's come for the people in our community that are making solidarity hard. Solidarity is a verb, not a transaction.
Aha, tribe, welcome back. I told you that at the end of this one here, I'll suck.
And fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. From the very beginning, the countries who send their immigrants to the United States have benefited far more economically than the United States ever has. But that's about to become a lot more difficult. Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill has a provision in it to increase the tax on remittances. Remittances is the money that immigrants send back to their folks in the old country. As for Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, it's already passed the House, and if it passes the Senate, it would be a game changer in terms of making it where economic migration is no longer the tax-free ride that it's been for all these other countries. And it's not as if these other countries haven't noticed. Predictably, the president of Mexico has said that she would mobilize, whatever that means, if the U.S. starts taxing remittances. She sees a tax hike in the United States as being a personal and direct attack on Mexico, something that has nothing to do with her country. It would be hilarious if it wasn't so pathetic. It just goes to show how there have been these other countries getting away with murder on the U.S.'s dime for so many decades. Remittances have been nothing but a torrent of free money from the United States to these failed states. But a lot of that money goes to drug cartels and organized crime syndicates, because it's been nothing but free money for those criminals too. Not to mention that most of the people who are sending remittances are illegals and they don't pay any taxes. So this is the only chance to make them pony up something. And people can get all up in their feelings if they want to, but Mexico is undoubtedly a failed state. It's certainly not a successful one. Who in their right mind would say that millions of people fleeing a country is a sign that the country is doing well? And its president, she's just another criminal trying to see how much she can skim off the U.S., though I do find it amusing that she says that Mexico would mobilize. Well, it'd be the first time in decades that they've gotten off their duffs. For decades, Mexico's presidents have tried to claim that the U.S. simply cannot do without illegal immigration, and that if the U.S. stopped, then it would only hurt America. Well, the orange man has called their bluff, and now the Mexican government is making threats. Seems the U.S. isn't the one who's suffering, and they haven't even had those tax hikes put on those remittances yet. Imagine how much louder they're going to be screaming after that takes effect. And this is going to affect not just illegal aliens, but also the legal ones too. People need to understand a reality here. Practically all the migration in the world is for economic reasons, no matter what the white media and certain interested activists may try to tell you. Most people lie and claim that they're trying to escape political or religious persecution, but in reality, the only thing they're trying to escape is doing the hard work of making their home countries prosperous. The perverted irony is that as a collective, if these people put the same effort into standing their countries up on their feet and making the reforms necessary to make their countries livable as they do fleeing the place, they would already have a paradise all around the world. All of that free money they've been getting from the United States, a lot of these countries, they've just become utterly dependent on all of that free cash so that they never have to generate anything on their own. And now the bill's coming due. The New York Times says Latin American countries would lose several $billions if the bill passes the Senate. But for African nations, where poverty levels are far higher, remittances are even more of a lifeline. According to the Times, in 2024 alone, sub-Saharan Africa received nearly $10 billion in remittances from the United States, which is almost as much as the $12 billion in foreign aid that it received before Trump retook office. In Africa, Nigerians would pay the most under the bill in absolute terms, losing around $215 million. Gambia and Liberia would lose the most as a percentage of gross national income. Gross national income. That's how important waiting for people in the United States to send money home to them is. For both of these countries, around a quarter of their income now comes from remittances. Senegal, which the World Bank ranked the country most dependent on remittances, would also suffer. So in other words, you've had these countries which have taken decades since so-called independence and done nothing to stand their economies on their feet. They've just been waiting for free money to be given to them either by people, immigrants in the United States, or by the U.S. government itself. That's what the true problem is. The United States is already one of the most expensive places in the world from which to send remittances. Companies that transfer money abroad are taxed, and they pass those taxes on to their customers in the form of fees. Africans already pay more than anyone else, according to the World Bank. Well, now it looks like they're about to pay even more. All of this whining and complaining going on has to stop. In fact, truth be told, the orange man is letting these immigrants off easy. See, if he really wanted to get tough with them, what he would do is he would tell each and every one of these wire transfer services that they have to check the immigration status of anybody wanting to send money through them. That's if he wanted to get tough with them. Everyone knows that illegal immigration is big business. It wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for the corrupt businessmen and financial interests who make huge amounts of money off of it. There's an entire economy revolving around it. Dirty money. Banks were the ones who fought to make sure that illegals could open bank accounts with them and to send remittances without having to undergo any checks for whether they're in the country legally or not. And they did it because all they care about are their billions of dollars in wire transfer fees. But since push is coming to shove, if they have to choose between raising their rates to compensate for the tax increase and losing their stream of revenue altogether, they'll play ball. Cutting these countries off is way overdue because using money is part of America's so-called soft power, how America influences other countries without having to use force. Reducing the amount of free money that these countries have been getting from the U.S. is just the kind of thing that might compel them to finally fix their problems. What's gone wrong are successive kleptocrat regimes in these countries, but also a failure of citizenship. Nobody should accept them complaining about how wrong and bad their governments are. When criminals run your town, you have to throw them out. You saw what black voters did with that Hainier woman in Illinois. They didn't flee. Instead, they ganged up on her and threw her out. But tethers can never understand that. Foundational Black Americans, we're just built different. You can't Joppa your way to prosperity. That's the lesson to be learned here. But it's clear that a lot of people simply refuse to get the memo. A so-called Ghanaian entrepreneur and philanthropic advisor called the tax an attack on the generosity of the diaspora and said that if it was aimed at curbing immigration, it would probably backfire. When you have financial hardship or economic hardship, it actually drives up migration, she said. Well, economic times are really tough right now, and the orange man has managed to bring illegal crossings at the southern border down to a trickle. And I don't think that the Africans can come across the Atlantic in dinghy rafts like they do with Europe. They go to South America and then try to hoof it on foot north. So yes, getting tough on the border works. The Times story also references a woman who got money from her family members in the US, which she used to buy a refrigerator, and then she started what I guess for her is a side hustle, basically selling cold drinks. Now, when you have an entire continent that sits on the bulk of the world's mineral resources, how is this kind of thing possible where refrigerators are a luxury that most of them can't afford? What that tells me is the political dysfunction and the refusal of those populations to get on code with each other is a far bigger threat than anything the Orange Man is trying to do. Because the problem here isn't whether or not they can get remittances at a lower price. The problem is that they're hopelessly dependent on remittances in the first place. And if people in Africa are complaining, then I say it's time to finally show the world some of that alleged superior work ethic they've been talking about and build up their home countries. None of them ever tries that. And that's because their loyalty system is totally broken, mainly because they broke it. When they came to the US, they didn't try to build bridges with us. Instead, they spat in our faces. But then again, that's what was going on at home, too. And they failed to build bonds among other African and Caribbean immigrants, even abroad. They're all being tribal and factionalized, and by now, some of them should have recognized that's not going to work. Remittances are not a sign of success. It's a sign of failure. It's a sign that your economy has failed to the point that you're desperately dependent on somebody else's money. White power has propped up and funded all these forces of anti-Black racism, and they're demanding that the hand that's been feeding them continue to feed them regardless. All their bluster about how productive and independent they claim to be is facing cold, hard reality. They're not bragging on themselves anymore. Now they're scared. Same thing with these wannabe white supremacist adjacents in the US. One gang of crooks and liars is beefing with another. It's all a scam, a racket. And speaking of scams, it's dishonest to try to make economic dependence sound honorable. These immigrants have swallowed a false narrative that they were indispensable, and we tried to tell them that they were just being played for fools, that their good white supremacist buddies were lying to them, that there's already more people in the US than are needed by the rich or powerful to generate their wealth. They can already make tons of money with far less people. As far as they're concerned, it's time for some of the useless eaters to be sent to the slaughterhouse. But the immigrants from Africa let their new buddies, these white supremacists, feed them a narrative that they were somehow better than us, and that they would make a backroom deal with African and Caribbean migrants, and they would ultimately supplant us. Sure, they wouldn't have our history or cultural significance, but as Joy Reid and other tethers have shown, when these guys talk about our history, they keep on using words like we and us, as if they were part of it, as if it was their ancestors who were taking on the fire hoses and police dogs, as if it was their ancestors who were being lynched and their churches firebombed, as if it was their ancestors who were marching, demonstrating, and taking their demands straight to the White House, as if it was their ancestors whose townships were destroyed by white marauders, as if they were the ones whose ancestors languished in the living hell of America's plantations. This was the entire reason that white power has allowed mass migration in the first place. It was to be a political and demographic counterlever to the demands that were coming from the Black population. You would have people who would have a requisite amount of melanin, but they would never speak about any historical grievance because they don't have one in the US. And they would be more compliant with the dominant society. That is, until it became time to yank their artificial money and jobs and whatnot and reduce them back to utter impoverishment. And by the way, this phenomenon is not just something in the United States. In Britain, there's a schism between Caribbean Afro-Britons and the Nigerian Afro-Britons, specifically the people from Jamaica vis-a-vis the people from Nigeria. It's not talked about much, but it is there. Caribbean Blacks were the largest group of Afro-Britons for the longest time. Many of them went there during the 20th century. And in the last 25 years or so, they too have noticed that there's been a lot of folks with Nigerian names who have been popping up in movies and television programs and even in the government. But they've also noticed that these people are not uniting with them. Instead, they're trying to remain tribal and factionalized. And that's the reason why it is that all of this stuff that white power is doing is never going to have any consequences from the people that they're running into the ground. The man who has the power to give you everything also has the power to take it away. We understood that reality long ago, that there were people who simply didn't want to get it, so we stopped telling them. And now the consequences are playing themselves out. We're going to be seeing a lot more immigrants who are going to be claiming that they were down with the struggle. But that's not going to fool anyone. The African and Caribbean immigrants who have actually been on the side of justice, who have actually been on Team Black empowerment, they may be a minority, unfortunately, but we do know who they are, and you're not going to be able to blend in with them. People trying to take off the uniform of the tether and put on the uniform of an honorable Black immigrant, or worse, trying to palm themselves off as a foundational Black American, that simply won't fly. So, for the people who spent years being terrified about the orange man becoming president or getting back into the White House, here's what the results have actually been. It's not because Trump's on our side. No, he's not. But it is a matter of every kind of attack that they would try to do against us, they've already done. It's time for these other groups to actually reap what they've sown. They wanted to be chummy with white supremacy, and this is the result. So many people kept thinking that they were going to find a comfortable place under white supremacy, so they would gladly sell out, lie for the dominant society, and do it for a few crumbs to send back home. And now, maybe some of them are finally realizing, too late, that the only safe place under white supremacy is fighting it. Good day.
Even though you saw there were massive numbers, at least in those videos, a lot of places it was kind of sprinkled, wasn't as big as those. Whether people were paid to show up or not does not matter. A few things that we have recognized with a lot of these protests. A lot of times they're massive. There's a lot of white people in these protests. And we see the police don't even do you anything. The police don't rough you up. The police don't beat you down. The police don't shoot you in the face with rubber bullets. The police aren't mass arresting you, aren't doing anything like that. They're letting you protest and just go back home to your house. That's one thing we have noticed repeatedly about these protests. We know the moment that we step foot out there, it's on and popping. We know when we step foot out there, we are the human shields. And then everybody else behind us just throwing rocks, stealing, looting. And then we get blamed for it. We say that black people are violent. Black people are thieves. Black people looting. This is black people's culture. What about black on black crime? What about black single mothers? What about black people's education? What about black people in prison? See, when we remove ourselves from the situation, none of that's coming up. They can't blame us for anything. And this is why a lot of people are frustrated who want us out there, is that now the spotlight is on you and yours, not on ours. Why we should go sign up to get beat down and arrested and propagandized? They use that footage to propagandize us throughout the world. This is why people in other countries say, well, I was told to stay away from black people because on the news, we see all these images. Who putting out the images? Who putting out the propaganda? The folks. So they could demonize us throughout the world. They do that. So instead of giving them footage, we don't have to, right? We are arresting. We have failed back. But the reason why they keep on trying to tell us, why don't y'all come out? Why don't y'all come out? The main reason why they really want us to come out outside of all that I just said is that none of these protests has the soul of America. We know Joe Biden talked about that, but them folks don't have no soul. You can say it, but you just don't have it. We are the soul of America. We are the salt of America. If you remove us, which we have removed ourselves, you have something unseasoned and bland. All these other groups know this. They may not articulating it how I'm articulating it, but they know without us, it don't work. Sure, they have a massive number, but it's weak. It has no substance. It doesn't go anywhere. They have what you call quantity, but we make it have quality. We make it have meaning. We get global attention on anything that we're doing. Even in our negativity, people want to follow. You understand? Anything we do is a trend, no matter what it is. Whether it's something that we thought of that has a lot of ingenuity or something we thought of that just something we do coming out our house and we just wearing it outside. Everything we do is a trend. People say, what are black people doing? What are they saying? What do they listen to? What do they follow? Because we are the soul of America. And the most biblical thing that we have done is removed ourselves and say, we're sitting at home. We're resting. You understand? We're staying out the way and let the Lord work. And have y'all seen, ever since we have done that, other groups now are having to face their community demons. They're having to face their anti-black racism that they have in their community. They're having to ask why black people won't come out, why black people are saying things they're saying online about us. And they're having to admit, yeah, you know, black people are right. They're 100% right. Yes, we are doing this. We are saying this. And let me tell you something about the folks, because some of the folks, I've been seeing some of them kind of giving themselves a pat on the back about that protest. Oh, a lot of us was out there. Yeah, a lot of you will easily go out there because it doesn't cost you anything. See, you go out there with your dog and your husband and your kids, and you take pictures that you were there, and you try to use that to other people and say, hey, you know, I was at this protest because I was against the discrimination. I was just against this. I was against that. Yeah, but here's the problem. You're willing to do something as long as it don't cost you nothing. As long as it doesn't cost your comfort, you'll do it. As long as it doesn't cost your privilege, you'll do it. As long as it doesn't shrink the wealth gap, you'll do it. Trust me, I know you. These other groups don't know you, but I know you. What you do is performative. That's all it is for you. It's something to go do on a Saturday. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you were really serious, you would be the main one because you the one owe it. Cash payment reparations. If you're not supporting cash payment reparations, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. Because when Donald Trump and Elon Musk and them started Doge and they started talking about all the billions of dollars y'all were giving out to people for stupidity in this country and all these foreigners, I'm like, oh, hell no. We need our reparations. This country got it. And if any of them saying no to reparations, then they nothing but an anti-black racist that don't want black people to have anything. And these other groups you have said no to, and we have played that here. You said no. Okay. My issue is this. We as black folks don't even need to get off our square. You want to do something? I'm here. We say, well, Vince, we can't sit out for a long time. We ain't sat out long enough. We ain't sat out even a year. No, don't listen. Do not get weary and rest. Rest. Stop. You don't have to do anything. These other groups have never reciprocated. These other groups don't even support reparations. Let me tell you something. Let's talk about the Latinos in California. With the California Reparations Commission, Latinos, you could have supported that. Asians, anybody else, you didn't have to go out there and do nothing. All you could have said is, yeah, black Americans need to get their reparations. It's not even a lot of black Americans in California. We say, but black Americans need to get their reparations in the form of cash payments. I support that. And if y'all would have done that, Latinos in California, if y'all done that one gesture, black folks in California be with you. Actually, black folks all over the country would be with you because they say, hey, man, the Mexicans in California, they down, man. It's truly black and brown. See, what y'all didn't bank on. Y'all didn't bank on them folks to turn against you. You thought they always going to listen. What we're doing right now is almost like a little example if we wasn't in America. It's just a small example, right? The folks have an oppressive nature, okay? It's oppressive. They will oppress their own people, okay? So since that's part of the culture is oppressing each other, they've done it in Europe, it's European history. You can go look it up. They can't do it to black people out there because, hey, if we're there, they can do it. Well, who's the next person in line they're going to do it to? They're not going to really do it to white people. They're going to do it to you because you're there. They're trained on go after the first person to have any kind of melanin in their skin. And now you're starting to find out the hard way about these people. You're starting to find out. And I know a lot of you really don't like the folks. I know you don't. But you rather side with them because they'll give you your little jobs and give you a lot of little under the table money. So that's why you're with them. And so you want to make good with them. So you'll be against the blacks, right? But see what happens when you're against the blacks. You see what happens? We know these people. These people are not your friend. They will turn on you just like that and won't think twice about it. Then within your own community, because y'all know y'all delineate within your own community, you're talking about which group within your Hispanic community has sold you out. And that's something y'all got to deal with. That's not my issue. And that's not really my problem. You know, if I'm going to deal with anything, we're going to deal with FBAs and I'll discuss the diaspora. Now, some people don't talk about the diaspora, but I do. And they don't have to talk about that, you know, because I think more international and global. Some people only think domestic, and that's okay. That's quite okay. But I'm one that want to work with those who want to work with me and who on like mine. And there's plenty of people I've talked to in the diaspora that support reparations, because if we get reparations, the diaspora gonna get reparations. That's just the way it works. That's the way it's going to work. I'm telling you, it's going to work like that. Now, Black people, let me tell you something else. You need to continue to remove yourself from everything, because when something is missing, it creates what you would say absence make the heart grow fonder. These people, let me tell you something, it is baffling people what we're doing. Like everybody, even the white supremacists, like, hold on. What are they doing? What? Like, they don't care. We're being racist. They don't care. They're laughing about it. They're enjoying themselves. We do this. They're not protesting. We're saying the N-word now with a hard R. And they just like, well, whatever. They don't care. What is going on? Who are these Black people? Who are they? I don't know them anymore. That's starting to kind of scare me, because they've become too unpredictable for me. See, before I had them like just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I knew exactly what they're going to do. Now I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're planning. I hear what they're saying on social media. I hear it, but we fully don't know who made this decision. Did they have a meeting? Who's the leader of this? Like what? Like what? They moving different. They're actually turning against their leaders that we have selected for them. Like what is going on? They're not voting just Democrat blindly anymore. Like, because we knew that's what they'll do. What's going on? The Democrat Party's in shambles right now because Black people have said, yeah, we good. Notice how things are falling apart. The Democrat Party they got LGBT still, they got immigrants, they got all that stuff they fight for, abortion, right? But notice when we're not around, everything fall apart because we are the soul of America. We have been the glue that has held this country together. When the folks is running rampant without us around and without us holding things up and actually stopping them from destroying the country and even destroying themselves, that's what they're missing. And they say, oh my God, Trump is just going crazy. Trump is a tyrant. What is going on? It's because the soul of America is not there. And when you have no soul, destruction happens very, very quick. See, you other groups are dealing with the weight of America that you have never dealt with before. See, when we was always on the forefront, you had it good because you can just go back to your home and you never had to be attacked. You never had to be incarcerated. You never were beat up like that. Not like we were. But now you other groups are starting to see, even the folks are starting to see the weight of what America really is. And have y'all noticed, Black people, ever since we've been doing this, how at peace we have been? You notice that? We've been at so much peace. We ain't been tripping about much. We ain't been angry about a whole lot. Sure, we advocating for our reparations. Sure, we advocating for what we need to, as we should, because we have a Black community that we still need to fight for. Oh, we're fighting, but we're fighting for our community. We're fighting for us for a change. We still fighting. We're fighting for us. We're building up us. We're edifying us, period. Because we have poured too much into other groups at this point. And they have to reciprocate. They owe a debt. Yeah, you owe a debt. Because for you to even come to this country, it was because of my ancestors, the Civil Rights Bill. Okay? Them folks didn't want none of you here if you wasn't European. Then the 65 immigration bill, which was Dr. King was there when that was being signed. You wouldn't be allowed to come here to have this better life that you come over here for if it wouldn't been for my ancestors. Then you had the nerve to come in this country and then disrespect Black Americans, side with the people that terrorized us and still terrorizing us to this day? And then you think we're going to come out there and be behind you, and then we still try to help you, and you still was having anti-black racism to the point now you haven't admitted that you got a problem. No, black folks don't owe nobody nothing. Don't you let any of these people say, you can't just stay in the house. Yeah, we can. Yes, we can. We don't have to shop with people we don't want to shop with. We don't have to entertain nobody. No. Y'all are on your own now. Y'all need to really see how it feels without black people for a time. For a time. And y'all crying and complaining now. Trump haven't even been in office. Well, I guess it'd be 6 months here at the end of this month. This man ain't been in office a year. Can y'all imagine how y'all gonna be? And let's think about Trump. Let's talk about him for a minute. Notice he's not really messing with black Americans like that. He's really not. He messing with everybody else, but he's not really messing with us. Yeah, he is. He's taking it. No, he's not. Because Trump can't do nothing to us that haven't been done already. He's not messing with us. And I know a lot of you can't figure that part out either. Why Trump ain't really getting at them? See, as long as if Trump was doing all this to us, all you other groups would be happy about it. You'd be cheering it on. Yeah, that the blacks, they criminals. The blacks are lazy. The blacks. Oh, you be cheering it on. But now it's your turn to get some of this white supremacy. And you're not liking it. Black people continue to stay in your house. Stay out the way. Enjoy yourself. Go to Universal Studios, Disney. Take trips with your family. Take a cruise. Don't fight on the cruise, though. Black people who go in and fight on cruises. My daughter just come back from a cruise. She said three of y'all was fighting. Lord, why you got to fight? See, I'm the type of person, they need to raise the prices because to keep certain people out. I love my people, but certain people I don't want to be around in my community. Stop fighting on the cruise ship. Because you're trying to make us a stereotype, and I can't stand that crap. See, we got a lot of inner community things we need to fix, like that crap, like that. Instead of worrying about other groups and what they got going on. But black people stay put. Stay put. It is biblical. Because see, sometimes God can't do certain things with his people in the way. You understand? Didn't God come to Lot and them and say, hey, get your family and get out of Sodom and Gomorrah, because I'm going to destroy this place. Didn't he say that? Didn't he tell the children of Israel, stay in the house, put the blood of the lamb over the door, and if the death angel come by and see that, he's going to leave you alone. But he told them stay in the house. So it's biblical of staying in the house as a group and letting God work. I'm preaching on this Sunday, right? Sometimes you got to move out the way. You didn't done enough. You didn't sacrifice. You have died. You've been beaten. You've been pepper sprayed. You've been shot with rubber bullets. You have been propagandized. You have been ostracized. You have been mass incarcerated. You have been disrespected by all. Now it's your time to move out the way and let God work. And that's what we're doing as a community. We ain't harming nobody. We're not advocating for anything to happen to nobody, but we're staying in our homes. And it's been a beautiful thing. See, you should have done right by God's children. And maybe this wouldn't have happened, but you sided with those who had a history of enslavement, colonization, bloodthirsty, dropping bombs on people. That's the people you side with, the people who even destabilized your countries. Those of you in Latin America, who destabilized your countries? Or was it Black Americans? No, it's the people you came over here siding with, and you really thought those people was going to be your friend in the end? Please. They destabilized your homelands. They never was your friend. But, you know, some of you thought that you can link up with them and
about this word illegal. Let's just talk about it. right? Because some of y'all act like the law is your Bible, but forget it once freed slaves and criminalized their escape in the same breath. So let's just talk about it. Let's just run through this word. The way you spit it like a curse, as if it explains everything, as if it ends debate, as if it's not literally the oldest lie America has ever told, that you're not wrong because of who you are, but because of where we put your name in our filing system. How many times you heard that? So now you sit here and confuse law with truth. You confuse border with belonging. You confuse paperwork with personhood. So let me rebuke this clearly. The word illegal is a weaponized word. It was made to make you forget that the native never signed off on the fences, that the black was smuggled in as property, not passengers, that the Chinese built the railroads and then got a ban in return, that the Mexicans became foreign on the land that used to be theirs. So miss me with the sanctimony. Miss me with all that shit. All that shit. Your legal system is not holy. It is a bruised tool held by trembling hands. And sometimes it signs chains in the contracts and tears in the policy. The illegality you defend is just convenience with bad PR. You don't hate the undocumented. You like your fruit cheap. That's all it is. You like your buildings tall. You like your coworkers invisible. You like your lawns cut and your meat packed and your economy moving. And you don't want to look at the hands who hold it up. So you criminalize them and then blame them for their own bruises and then call the bruise the proof that they never belong. That sounds mighty familiar to me. I don't know. Because when they protest, you say they're disrupting, but that's the point. They're not here to beg. They're not here to whisper. They're here to interrupt your fiction. They interrupt the fiction. Right? Because the story this country tells is that we are a nation of laws, but the truth is that we are a nation of loopholes for the powerful and cages for the desperate. So when the undocumented shut down the freeway, they're not blocking traffic, they're exposing it. That's all it is. They're showing you what happens when the invisible refuses to stay invisible. So to say they're illegal so they deserve it is to confess your own spiritual laziness. It is to say that justice stops at the border, that humanity inspires without papers, that the law, no matter how cruel, deserves your loyalty more than the truth. Because if Rosa Parks had followed the law, she'd have stood up. If Frederick Douglass had followed the law, he'd be on a plantation. Come on. If Christ had followed the law, he would have never flipped the tables. So let them flip tables. Let them disrupt your calm. Let them make you uncomfortable, because legality is not your God, and it damn sure ain't your excuse.
He is spirited and he used a lot of words. So let's use some words in return. I think it's worthy of a response, man. And what he says sounds poetic and it sounds righteous, but it's got a lot of problems. It's got a lot of problems. It's dangerous and it's misleading for Black Americans, particularly Black Americans struggling at the bottom, who have been struggling at the bottom for a couple hundred years. It's nice to be high-browed and be optimistic and be green and be fighting for the planet. And every wrong that's wronged, every person, every country that's been wronged by America, to say, hey, come on over. We got jobs for you. We'll make space for you. Well, you know damn well we the ones sitting at the bottom. So let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious. Comparing illegal immigration to Rosa Parks and Frederick Douglass, really? That's a false equivalency, sir. I don't care if you say it with a lot of emotion and you say it fanatically or dramatically, emphatically or not. That is bullshit. Rosa was resisting Jim Crow in a country that's her country, on land that is her land. You can't say that about illegal immigration. It was a system built. The system is built to keep. It was built to keep Black people in their place, subjugated to white people. That ain't the situation with immigration. We were forced into this country by slavery. Ain't nobody forced illegal immigration to happen. No one forced Mexicans to come here. No one forced Ukrainians to come here. No one forced Haitians or Nigerians or any other African-related immigrants to come to America. No one forced them. We were the only people, Black Americans are the only people that were forced to come here. Japanese, any Asian countries, not forced. No one forced Kamala Harris's mom to come here. She chose to come here. Frederick Douglass escaped literal bondage, bro. So you're falling into the trap of what I've been seeing a lot of the liberal democratic black elites do, which is compare all of our suffering to people that could choose to bounce tomorrow. They could just go up, keep it moving to Canada. Frederick Douglass wasn't dodging paperwork. He was dodging hounds. Immigrants today aren't being dragged here in boats, sold on auction blocks, and forced to build an empire for free. Now, they're getting paid. So as long as immigrants are getting paid, whether it be a lot or a little, any comparison to slavery is bull and should not be tolerated, whether you mean well or not. It's disrespectful. If you're looking to make an effect, find another way to make an effect. Use something else besides us. How about using how Sweden or Australia treat their immigrants? Oh, because you can't, because they're worse than us. Yeah, they're worse than us. I covered this in another video. We're not the worst when it comes to immigration, you know. Not saying it's because we're benevolent. We'll exploit anyone, including the working whites. Many are making a choice to come here. That's understandable. I get it. I understand what you're saying. But still a choice to cross into another country and bypass the law, bruh. Let's not confuse moral courage with a migration policy. The policy was in place when they crossed. It's not like they crossed over, got here, was here 20 years, then they found out they might be deported if they're not legal. Nah, they knew before they crossed. Not saying that's great, that's the law. You call the word illegal a weapon. But what about the real world damage that unrestricted immigration has caused Black Americans? I'm not hearing you make that counterclaim. Like, where is the Black American part in this? Or are we just trying to placate to Hispanic viewers? Yeah, what do we come at it? I'm not seeing any difference between you and Eddie God right now. Eddie Clyde. I'm not seeing any difference between you and Van Jones or Van Lathan or Bakari Sellers. It's like virtual signaling. Forgetting that Black people are sitting here listening to this whole shit. Let's talk facts. Let's talk wages. In industries like construction, agriculture, and hospitality have gone down. Maybe it doesn't concern you. You don't have to work at those jobs, maybe. If you did, you'd be talking a different tune, maybe. The wages have gone down, not up, especially in cities where undocumented labor is rampant. So that's one problem. Wages are down. Two, housing. In low-income areas becomes more competitive, more expensive, and more crowded, which only drives up the cost of housing, which we don't need because we've been perpetually discriminated against in our own country. Oh, and it's been by some of the new arrivals. Yeah, that's a sticking point, isn't it? Schools get over-enrolled, hospitals get overburdened, and these are the resources we have. And since we are the folks living paycheck to paycheck in a system that's built on capital, we suffer the most. Another point you ain't making your video, which has got me wondering why so many people rock with you. Are you rocking for the working class? Black Americans, or is this for the elites? They want to feel good. Virtue signal from their purchase. Black folks already undeserved, get pushed further to the back of the line. These are the things that happen due to illegal immigration, just some of the things. And I'm not going to go as far as to start demonizing, talking about the crime and the Lincoln Riley Act, and other stuff that that some of my conservative folks do. But we're just going to keep it aboard here, man. We're still fighting for the promises that this country made us. And now you're talking about promises it hasn't made to non-citizens. Jesus, God, we can't even get America to agree to things that they said they were going to do for us. We ain't get our 40 acres and a mule. We ain't get pursuit of happiness to the same degree as white folks. I'm the first Black American, the first male in my family to have the same rights as a white man. And my family been in this country since the 1700s. If you want me, if you want to get up here and wax poetic about how we need to treat people that ain't even citizens of this country, slow down. Brand new being. This not making sense. Now you want us to pause our fight to welcome new arrivals who aren't part of our struggle, but who do benefit from our struggle. I think Black Americans already did enough. I don't think we need to be lectured to about how bad America is. I think we're the ones who wrote the book on that. Baldwin. The file next time maybe should be for, others. And we should not be included at all. And if we're not included, you might want to say that. So miss me with that, Justin. You said we like our fruit cheap. But let me be clear. We ain't the ones profiting. Black Americans ain't the one profiting from this. What percentage of Black Americans really profit from this stuff? I mean, I heard Jasmine Crockett make the saying, please. And all I can say is please. It's rich white folks and corporate Democrats. They're the ones that want their fruit free or cheap. And it's the Democrats who get the benefits. We're the ones who get the side effects. So that's why this isn't about solidarity. It's a sacrifice. And I'm sorry, Black Americans have already sacrificed enough, bruh. Yeah, young man, Black America has sacrificed enough. We already kicked the door in for civil rights. They already take advantage of that. The fact that they can come to this country and have any modicum of civil rights is because of Black Americans. So I'm saying this is not in hate, but in clarity. Borders aren't the enemy, injustice is. We need a border, sir. Yeah, man, we need a border. If we don't have a border, we don't have a country. And if we don't have a country, well, damn it, Johnson, what was all that surviving about? Any movement that puts Black Americans behind yet another group is a movement we don't need any parts of. And no matter how eloquent, how thought-provoking, how different, how emotional, how inspiring, how sensational, how interesting you are, you ain't cooking if you on that. Because that's not progress, that's betrayal. We don't need symbols, we need solutions. And open up the floodgates and let's help everybody. It's not a solution. All right, Johnson.
Coffee. Follow me.